Friends, hello. May 13th, 2024, Virtual Strangers 212 is live. I, of course, am your host, Wes. With me, as always, is my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, how's this week going for you so far?
It's going good. It's Monday. I was just saying in the chat that Monday is one of 7 amazing days. That's the way I look at it. It's like you gotta, wake up in the morning and say today's a great day, regardless of what's going on, because this is my experience. No matter how bad my day's been, the day's always ended, and I've always woke up to a fresh one the next morning. One day that's not going to be true, but until then, I can always say it. So
that's the good thing, right? No matter how shitty a day can be, and sometimes there's some really shitty ones. I would think for most of us here, there's more good ones than bad ones. And when you do have a bad one, typically the next one tends to be a little bit better.
Yeah, it's all perspective. And I think it's also being grateful, and just in life. And, the way I look at it is I can walk and talk and see and eat. I can feed myself. I can go down a list of everything that I can do that I know that there's somebody out there that can't do it. And so, yeah, we're all blessed in a lot of ways, even somebody that's got issues. Somebody riding a bike could look at somebody walking and say, well, I'm not driving a car, but at least I'm not that guy. And then the guy walking's like, please, dude, at least I have my legs working, right? So
Right.
you go down the road. So
honestly, though, I think I'd rather walk than ride a bike. Who wants to ride a bike? It's lame.
Jenna can't handle my positivity today. She's it's Monday. Yeah, this is
just
every day for me.
If you don't like the Ruuts positivity, just hang in there just a moment. I'm sure we can say something that'll set him off.
Oh yeah, you might get to the first topic and watch me completely change my tune. Yeah, as a matter of fact, reading through the list, my blood started boiling a little bit. Hey, calm down, like at some point it's going to be okay.
Well, why don't we talk about it then? Well, why don't we just go ahead and dive right in and talk about something that is annoying the hell out of me. And that is this headline I keep reading that says the latest SteamVR update includes Steam Link improvements for Quest. Ruuts, you know what would be a Steam Link improvement for me?
What's
if it would work.
Oh,
if
yeah.
If it would work at all. Well, because it don't.
Working is a prerequisite, I would say. If it doesn't work, then yeah, that's not good. And ironically, right, like it's improvements for Quest. Well, what good is it? And I don't know what issues you're having, but it's just I thought it was ironic because now that your Airlink's working, the Steam Link say, okay, I can take a break. I don't need to.
That's it.
That's
just it. And that was right around the time that it stopped. Like, so as many of you know, Oculus Airlink did not work for me for years. Not that I tried all the time. I mean, admittedly, I tried it a couple times. It didn't work. And I said, you know what? I'll just plug in. I don't need this. But since we've been in the Quest 3 era, and especially since I lost my link cable, I've needed to connect wirelessly. So I started doing that with Steam Link. Ruuts said, hey, you know what? Works really well. And it's super easy. Steam Link. And I tried it. And sure enough, it was like one click, go. And it worked great.
Until it didn't.
Until it didn't, right. Well, basically, it worked great until I tried Airlink. I tried Airlink the first time since I've pretty much had a new computer and a new headset, and that worked great. But now, ever since I've done Airlink, every time I've tried to go back to Steam Link, it just doesn't work. I click on it, and it tries to open, like the Quest reads it as being open. The computer shows it as being connected, but I don't see the SteamVR Wasteland. Instead, I have these black blinders that come over. I still have my Quest, space in front of me. These black blinders that come into the corners of my sight. And then when I look over my shoulder, I can see like this distorted image that looks like it's trying to be SteamVR over there, but for some reason not right in front of me. And it's annoying, man. I tried to use it this past weekend to play the Soul Slinger mod, and I had to use Airlink because the Steam Link just wouldn't work.
That's weird. And I would tell you just connect it to your cable, but it just disappeared
You
in your
know,
house.
I still have my old one. When I started having problems connecting through wired link, I just went ahead and paid for the expensive name brand cable, which didn't really show me any improvement.
Did it connect?
Um, yeah, it connected.
It showed you improvement because this is the thing. You're already forgotten why you got it, even though you just said it. You were having problems connecting. You're like, okay, I'm going to get the real, and you call it what I don't know how exactly what you just phrased. I call it the official cable.
Right.
Yeah, it is more expensive, but it works until you run over it with your chair several times. That's my
Well,
experience.
I have the unofficial cable, which is the one that Meta recommended to people before they had the official cable fully stocked, and it works fine. I just use it as a charging cable now for my phone, but it's over there if I ever feel like I need it. But like literally, we're talking about accessories here for what in effect is my backup plan, because
Right.
my number one go to always is my G2. It plugs in to my graphics card,
It
which is
actually
awesome.
connects. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, well, and I
So
guarantee you've had issues with your G2, but it's never been actually getting the game to connect into the display. It's like I was
no,
saying.
no, it's just support. Does the game support it or not? That's the only issue that I have with it anymore.
Same thing with the CV1. I never had issues with the CV1, like turning on and connecting. It just always did it, right? And I was
Right.
saying to you before the show, there's a reason why we have DisplayPort connectors to our monitors. They're not wireless. Like people don't want to have intermittent issues connecting to something. I get it for this. Like this needs to, if you want a John Wick it or, like whatever the reasons you want to be wireless, it needs to. Um, Monitors don't, but I would just prefer, if you see, I've got mine connected. My cable never gets unplugged. So I need this cable, but I want it to be plugged into it and be a part of my headset. And then that way I could also be connected to the wonders of DisplayPort, or I'll even take USB-C PlayStation VR2 style that actually is
There you go.
real fucking technology, because
We said it.
you nailed it a couple weeks ago to me personally when you said it. I never really thought about it. This cable there's no difference between it and AirLink as far as compression and all that shit. It's just a different way of connecting. Well, that sucks.
Right.
I don't want to downgrade, you know? So
It's funny because a couple of years ago, before PSVR 2 launched, we had theorized that it might eventually be the savior of PCVR, only we didn't quite realize that it might quite literally be the savior of PCVR as everyone's go-to PC headset.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing how it operates when it connects to it and stuff. I really like the form factor of this though, not having anything on the bottom, and that's going to be very difficult for me to get used to
Well,
on any other headset.
you can pull the accordion face gasket off of your PlayStation VR 2 as well.
Is it would it be weird though, or like this thing? What's good is it's also got these things that you pop on the sides. So
right. You'd have to get some blinders, right?
I still want the sides blinded. Otherwise, that would be weird. I don't know how to put this on.
I know a
upside
guy.
down.
I know a guy who
Oh.
could probably make that for you.
Oh,
His name's Mr. Taz. He
Yeah.
runs a shop on Etsy.
Yeah, I know that guy. I was just gonna say, ask you if he used to be on Baywatch, but I think it's a different Mr. Tass, probably.
Right. But no, it's not that I've put a lot of troubleshooting into this Steam VR, Steam Link thing. I haven't had to. Thankfully, AirLink has worked when it hasn't worked, and it has worked when AirLink didn't work. And it's just one of those things like, half the time these days, if I'm getting into play PCVR anyway, I'm getting into play a mod. And there's a certain amount of tweaking and dialing that you have to do with a lot of these to get them to run smoothly. And I just don't want anything on top of that, right? Like I want the headset to work. And so I can just focus on getting my frame rate in and getting the most amount of detail in the picture that I can get. Um, so yeah, thankfully Airlink has worked. I haven't even started to delve into tweaking settings and things for it because I'm sure I could probably dial it up a little bit and get it to be a little sharper too, fully leverage my graphics card. And you know what? I might do that. We're going to play Red Dead this week, Roots. I'm excited.
I know. I actually got it set up. I know. Told you and Eric. I didn't connect my what's it called? Didn't sync it, so I didn't like my saves and stuff. Didn't even think about it. I
Oh,
just said no, and then it started the beginning, and I thought, oh, what is this? And I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to the basics because I haven't played it with this new card and set it to ultra, and I was blown away again. I spent a couple hours in there going through the first basic part. I'm still in the snow, but pretty soon we're gonna bust out of that bitch, head down to Strawberry. I'm hoping, and I don't know. I think we've all kind of missed this gap. There was an issue with Strawberry and still is, with crashing, processors crashing. Like you can get to a certain point. I think my 12700K was at the point where it had passed that issue. I think that was what got rid of it, because before that, when I played it with my old one before that, it was like hit or miss. Sometimes you'd be fine, and then sometimes you'd get into town, and it got to the point in all the Reddit forums where people were just skipping the town as much as they could because it just was it was a clusterfuck.
well,
So
that's interesting. Interesting to know. Thankfully, I am running 12700K, if I'm not mistaken. That's what
yep.
I run. So hopefully we will be devoid of similar issues. Before it gets away from, we've had a couple tips. First of all, Samson143VR, US $4.99 donation says still getting used to the new time. Good to see y'all. Yeah, I think a lot of people are. Roots and I aren't. Like, this is perfect for us. Saturday, Monday. I don't know about you, Roots, but for me, it's been like a glove. Like, it just feels right.
Yeah, it's
Um,
definitely perfect for me, except for like we were saying in the chat earlier. I totally spaced the thumbnail. I was like, I literally had just left for a stop across town, and then you were like, "Yeah, just send me the thumbnail when you get it done." And I was like, "Fuck!" So I ran back home real quick and did it because I spaced it. But other than
well, I
that,
appreciate that.
yeah, no, I wanted to.
Uh,
I know we've been trying to get that, not only be more on time, but we want to get that notification out sooner, several hours before, not just an hour before. Give people time to think about their game plan to watch The Strangers, right?
that's right. And I did see a comment from Chatty earlier saying that confusion around the time that we go live. This is it. The numbered episodes every Monday now between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then Saturday nights, typically between midnight and 1 a.m. Eastern time is when we're targeting for that. Those are our times. I can't narrow it down to a smaller window than that. You know how we are.
Yeah.
Um, but that's small enough. The other donation from Classy Grandma, $10 US, says, "Oops, I'm otherwise busy, but I will catch you later. Big hugs and whoop whoop." So, Roots, normally I would give Classy Grandma shit because she said if we would be regular, then she would be regular. And now she's not, but she's giving us $10, so I'm not going to say a word.
Yeah, well, hey, she was here. So things happen. People get busy, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. You guys, well, there's Bluebell with the $9.99. Nice to have you guys back. Great notes, Wes. Thank you. Thank you, Bluebell, for showing up. Thank you for the donation, and thank you for the compliment.
And thank you for the
Awesome.
notes, Wes. I did. I was looking through them. They're pretty good. There's a lot of stuff in there. A lot of
Yeah,
good nuggets.
well, it wasn't exactly easy, man. There hasn't been a lot of news lately in VR. I mean, there's been some things, but I mean, there's stuff for the cutting room floor, but you're talking about stuff that we want to talk about and put on the show. It's been rather sparse, but I think we managed to put together a pretty interesting lineup today. Before we get into that, right before the show went live, I got a ping in the Discord from the Zero Caliber devs. I guess Zero Caliber 2 is about to go into the meta QA process. Right here it is from Daniel. It says, I've got some good news for y'all, and you're hearing it here first. Meta will soon start the official QA process on Zero Caliber 2. If everything goes well and we pass on QA, the game should be out sometime in July on Quest 2 and Quest 3 and Pro. Party time emoji. A couple of things here. First of all, people who are excited about this are probably going to be really excited about it. A lot of people really looking forward to Zero Caliber 2. Zero Caliber 1 was pretty decent, but certainly left a lot of room for improvement in terms of the way the game's structured. And a lot of people are expecting Zero Caliber 2 to have a proper story campaign. Some things in this little message here that really stuck out to me. First of all, come out sometime in July on Quest 2 and Quest 3. No mention of PC there, and I found it interesting. These days, we kind of have to parse the message, right? Like, not only are we looking for PC support, are we looking for PSVR support? We're looking to see, is this going to be a Quest 2 game or not? Because now we're getting into the age where developers are saying, hey, you know what? I don't care if there's 20 million headsets out there. That thing is holding us back. We're not going to support it anymore. Games like Alien, games like Batman, which we're going to talk about in a little while, they're saying, you know, we understand that that's where the money's at. That's holding us back. We only support 3. So apparently, first of all, we can see that this is a game that is developed around Quest 2. Which, you know, that's not like a death sentence or anything, but I mean, we've had some really great Quest 2 games, but Ruuts, I for one was hoping that this was going to be a case of we'll see it first on Steam, and then they try to reverse engineer it for Quest 3 and Quest 2. Apparently, they're taking the opposite approach. They're developing a game for Quest 2, and then they're going to bring it along for Quest 3, and then maybe PC later.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should be starting on PC. I don't know. My thing with the Quest 3, and aside from making the games look better, graphical upgrades, like I don't know that the game's scopes are going to get that much bigger because they're on Quest 3 only, or more depth, and that's what I care about. So, you know, I guess the whole the whole move, like Zero Caliber has made sure that I'm going to actually be trying their game, you know, because if it's standalone, I can't play it if it's 3 only.
Well, here's the thing. If you read further down, and I cut a bunch of bullshit out so people didn't have to read it, but if you go all the way down to the bottom of the message, there's this little thing at the bottom that says, for the PCVR folks. That's us, Ruuts. He says, if you think the game's Quest 3 version deserves a Steam release, please smash the wishlist button so we know it's worth a shot.
How about you?
So,
how about you fix the Gambit game that I just spent money on? Well, I guess I didn't spend money, but I told D, I said the reason why I get so pissed about that, Wes, is because I feel like I wasted people's money. I went on a limb to tell them, hey, get this game. Yeah. It's going to get better. They're going to fix all the jank. And they made me a liar, you know? And I really kind of, every time I see anything from this dev now, that's the first thing that goes through my mind. And I know that they're still going to put out good games, and this is probably going to be a good game. But it's hard for me to get excited when, you know, I feel like they've already kind of screwed me sideways in a way, because I didn't pay for it. If I paid for it, I'd be really pissed, Wes. You know, like I got the game for free. So I don't know.
Right. But you know, no, I agree with you totally. And we've talked at length about their support for Gambit and what it might mean for Zero Caliber 2. But this I find very disturbing. If you really look at what they're saying here, they're saying, hey, there is no PC version of this game.
Right.
There's just the question of whether or not we're bringing the Quest 3 version over, which, might not be such a bad thing if this were a Quest 3 exclusive. But as we already talked about, it's not a Quest 3 exclusive. It's a Quest 2 game, which means you're going to get a Quest 2 game with some modest visual upgrades. And then at the end of the statement, it is even set in stone that there's going to be a Steam. They're like, hey, hit the wishlist button so we know that it's worth even doing a PC version, or rather bringing the Quest version to PC. I can go ahead and tell you, developers, if you're watching this, SteamVR players do not want you to bring your Quest game to PC. They want a PC version. They want a game that standalone VR can't do.
So Awesome Tatum just said, see, screw that. I want PC VR version, not a goddamn port. And yeah, that's pretty much says it. And it really should be. And it's exactly what you said. It's the opposite of what you were saying earlier of games like Alien or the Batman game. They want to go. They're saying screw how many headsets are out there. We don't care. And this is saying we do care. All we care about is how many headsets. Which, I mean, I can't blame them. Like, that's, you want
to. I mean, you got to make money. And I'm not saying if I were in their shoes that I would have the courage to walk away from what is primarily the only viable market in VR right now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying as me, as a consumer, as the enthusiast, someone who has all the headsets and all the platforms, like, if you want me to get excited about your game, I want high quality VR. Look down our lineup today at the topics that we're talking about. Look down our lineup in recent weeks. See what we're talking about. We're talking about mods. We're talking about PlayStation VR 2. We're talking about PC VR. And we might sprinkle in a Quest game here and there if it's a big budget, AAA Quest game. Then we might talk about that. This is what we want as enthusiasts. And I'm not saying I don't understand why it's coming to Quest 2. I'm saying as an enthusiast, it disappoints me that it's coming to Quest 2. And it really disappoints me that this is a game that, when it was revealed, the day that the reveal trailer came out, there was a Steam page for it, not a Quest page. And now they're treating the Steam version like it's something that they might do if they think that it's worthwhile. They might bring the Quest 3 version to Steam. I just found that interesting and thought that I would point it out.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Anyways, you know what's going to be great? Roots Into the Radius 2. That's going to be really good.
Well, yeah. And so that's the exact opposite of this situation. The devs have followed through on everything they've ever said and promised, and so I have such high respect for those devs that I have very, very high expectations that the game is going to be exactly what the first one is. And if it's not perfect on release, it'll be fixed and it'll become a better game by the end of the time that you own it. And so I just value customer service, and I value companies that follow through. And I think there's a weird thing that's going on these days where people just have a short memory, and I don't. Like, I get screwed a couple times by certain companies. It doesn't matter what it is, what product it is. I'll just start looking for another one. There's plenty of companies out there. And if people did that, we would stop seeing shit. Then companies would start fixing things. It's the complacency that causes it. And we're, as consumers, we're a big part of the problem. And hopefully people change and wake up, I guess.
I wish that the Steam community could review bomb this before it comes out. Maybe they would give us a legit game.
Yeah.
We saw the power of the Steam community when they made Sony get on their knees last week. It was pretty awe-inspiring, the power of that group.
It's quick. Well, I think it's a lot of things. I feel like if Sony didn't feel in some way that they fucked up in a big way, that it was all on their head, then they might have tried to buck it. But it was so obvious to everybody that it was all them. And so it's kind of hard to hold your ground when you caused it. And I guarantee whoever's above the person that caused it was like, just do whatever you need to do to fucking fix this mess, because they got it early enough to where I think it's not going to affect things, right? But if they let it go too long, it could get really out of control. So,
Indeed, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how long they delay, because obviously they're not going to get away from their plan to set up their PC client, nor should they. But I happen to know that they're looking at bringing um, the Horizon sequel to PC this year, and it'll be interesting to see if they decide to make that something that you mandatory um, have to link your account to the PlayStation network to get it.
It's interesting because in a couple ways, because obviously they're going to want to, but they may have pigeonholed themselves to have to do the same thing they did, because like logically, if they tell people ahead of time, it should be no problem. But they're now in this weird place, right, that they weren't before. And there's some people out there that would be pissed no matter what if they have to do it, and they would feel legitimate. It'll be a legitimate cause to do it, whereas before maybe they weren't. So
yeah, and before you leave a comment saying that that the PlayStation Network doesn't work in XYZ country, they can provide for that with an exception, right? If you're in one of those countries, if you can't do it, then you don't have to do it. How about that?
Right.
Something tells me that they're able to do
that.
Yeah,
yeah, they just reversed everything and said, no, don't worry about it. They absolutely can. They just choose not to, right? So, but yeah, no, they've created a weird issue by acquiescing, which I think they didn't have a choice. They've created another potential problem down the road if they try to enforce it. So it will be interesting to see how that works.
Anyway, if you want the Quest 3 version of Zero Caliber 2 to potentially make it to Steam one day, be sure you get over there and wishlist it. It's been active for 5 months now. So
yeah, beg the devs.
Why don't we say hello to our friends in chat here? We've got a few people showing up to the party. People like Awesome Tatum, people like Mad Vegan, Scott Dracula is here. Je ne sais quoi, EV Man versus Gas, Classy Grandma, $2 donation. I am still here.
Yeah, she said right after that. She said she's not that. I guess I'm not that busy. I can blow off. Maybe I'll just blow off what I was gonna do.
And hell so, yeah, that sounds like the plan.
That sounds the awesome plan. Absolutely. I blew everything off VR for this. Wes.
Time to play VR got his name back.
Oh yeah,
I see it in the chat.
I didn't even think about that. I saw it earlier and it just kind of went over my head.
Dead Ringer, the Game Cat's here. Game Cat Photo Nutter is here. JH is here. Nihilus Ryan is here. Looper's here. Radio Runt is here. Stingray X, Techno Glitch, App J. Chinatown D is here. What up, D? Inferno 9 says, I can't wait for Zero Caliber 2. Good. Go wishlist it. Maybe it'll come to Steam. Bluebell's here. Mr. Lord Beavis is here. Black Market Honey is here as well. Chatty's here. Sep joining us as well. Says it's a good time to stream for the EU peeps. There we go. We try to make it a good time for everyone. We very intentionally, strategically chose the time that we chose so that hopefully the maximum amount of strangers can make it to the show.
Even the other one, right? Because it's so late. It's like early. Right. We get you breakfast time, right? This is the evening show for the UK. It's flipped.
That's right. Coffee and VR. That's what we call ourselves these days.
I miss coffee and VR.
Four Wheeling's here. Paradise Decay is here. What's up, PD? VR SpryGuy is here. Rogue TR says, Wes, if you ever need virtual desktop support, my DMs are open. Now, I've got virtual desktop here. that one, I suppose I would use it if I ever had to use it. I just don't really need to these days, but I definitely have it, and it was definitely the first one that I used. I used Virtual Desktop for a long time.
Spry says that's all he uses nowadays, and they've got so many different advancements. It's actually better experience. I'm adding that last part, but from what I've heard, anyway.
I'm sure it's great. It was great. For what it's worth, the last time I tried to use it, which was months and months and months ago, it didn't work. So I didn't troubleshoot it. I
Well,
just went on to the.
there you go. You know, they had what great advancements that don't work, right? So
Right. Rogue TR's here. What's up? Stingray X. Samson, we already said hello to, but hello again. Samson. Salvador's here. Let's see. Who else is here? I know someone else is here.
Classic Grandma's still here. She says X-Lax rules, and so does Virtual Strangers. And then
there you go.
I think I saw her say after that's all you're getting. That's what we appreciate you.
Ant is here. Assassin 32 VR is here. Roy Schwartz as well. That Dank Cheese, Destiny 11, Mark Smith, Brian Paul. What's up, Brian? Hello.
Jenna says she only uses Virtual Desktop and it works 100% of the time. So it sounds like user error. It does sound like user error. Although
hey, it worked 100% of the time for me until it stopped, and I did not troubleshoot.
I wonder what, like, because that's two different things, and they're both based on, projecting or grabbing a signal, right? So, out of the air. So it's kind of weird.
I don't know. I lost my PC connection with it. Like, it for some reason, and I don't know why the PC client is up to date. I continue to update it to this day, and for whatever reason, when I went to use it that last time, it could not find my PC. Like the headset and the PC weren't talking anymore like they used to.
They were pissed. They were having an argument. We're not talking anymore.
They probably got mad because the PC cheated, or the Quest cheated on the PC.
I think so.
Was using Steam Link, and it got pissed off about it.
It got probably got pissed because you were cheating on the Quest 2 with the Quest 3. There's a lot of shit going on in your computer. There's a lot of weirdness there with your cheating computers or headsets.
That's true. Bluebell's here. Chatty's here. Quadzilla's here. Who else?
Philly's
Backlog Game Cat.
Philly Sup says he's a Slippy.
Get to you Slippies in just a moment. I have to say hello to Evan Yabu first, and Bad Robo, and Philozix, and Vargosoft.
A lot of names.
And yeah, absolutely. Gabriel 004, Q Creator, Fluke Rogi here as well, and El Diego VR. And that, my friends, is as far as I can scroll. Now we'll get to the Slippies. Slippies like True Prophecy 22 and Feels Ya Up and The Headbite and Chris Richardson. What's up, man? It has been a long time. Good to see you. What's up? Rift Travelers here. Dracula AD 1972 Vegan Vampire Game Cat is here as well. Nihilus Ryan, the Game Feline, $5 donation. Cheers, y'all. Mondays are back in a Virtual Strangers kind of way. That's right. We are back. The Monday show lives again. Classic Grandma with another $2. You already read that one off, didn't you? X-Lax rules, and so does the Virtual Strangers.
They do. Yeah.
All right. I Want a Lot is a Slippy, as is Sanador the Game Tiger, Duggars K, Steve IRE, and I think, did we say hi to Dead Ringer the Game Cat? Did we say hi to EV Man? I believe we did. What about JPEG Q? JPEG Q Roots, by the way, our newest member of the Virtual Strangers Patreon. Everyone, a round of applause for JPEG Q for doing the right thing. right?
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you. I just actually put my bottle of water on my keyboard and didn't spill it. Just like did some kind of weird thing with my keys there. Yeah, I think 100%. And Nihilist Ryan the Game Feline with a $5 donation says, "Cheers, y'all. Mondays are back." Oh, did you already say that? Okay, never mind. Actually, as soon as I started saying that, I like remembered hearing that in the back of my mind, Wes's voice saying, "Backing stranger." You get it. We appreciate you, Ryan.
All right. Classy Grandma has to go for real this time. Thank you, Classy Grandma, for staying around as long as you could and donating all those monies. We appreciate it.
And we'll see you in about 10 minutes. No, just kidding. We'll see you on the replay, right?
That's right. Substatic is here. Xbox Game Pass only bitch is here. Dan Kitty VR. Yeah. Is that everyone? Mepper's here. What's up, Mepper? Wow, lots of people showing up. Dead Ringer the Game Cat says 104 watching, 36 likes.
Oh,
Smash it,
getting
people.
called
Come
out.
on. Yeah,
Come
that's
on,
right.
son, as Wes would say.
You know, we still have our downvoter roots. They watch every fucking show, and we always have the one that's just thumbs down.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you, whoever you are. You know, if I saw that there was 2 or 3 or 4, I mean, I wouldn't be happy about it, but it is engagement. So we'll take it.
It's
right?
weird, man. I'll take it. Obviously, they love us, or else they wouldn't watch every episode. It's weird though that YouTube doesn't let people see that anymore, right?
Yeah, it's weird, but all it takes is a couple of high-profile videos that are projected as something that's being watched, like really going viral, but everybody's downvoting it. People are like, wait a minute, they're telling me this video is good and everybody likes it, but everybody's downvoting it. And then they're like, oh, we got to get this shit off there. No more downvotes. Sorry, you're not allowed to see that anymore. We still see it, though. But,
let's go, Brandon.
Yeah.
James is here. Okay, I think that's all the Slippies. I think that's everyone. That's a good point. Mepper says that a downvote is an upvote south of the equator.
That's true.
See, it's all about perspective, Roots. You were saying that earlier.
Absolutely. It all comes back to that. My thought is they took the time to come and downvote it. I mean, it could be just like that this whole time. They're like, as I was growing my beard, they're like, I don't like it. Like, I like the show, but I'm downvoting Roots' beard every week.
There you go. Could be it.
Could
just be one of our Australian followers trying to give us a thumbs up.
Down under. They're like, you know
right.
what? I've given you the down under. No, is that? I don't know if that's a thing.
You know who loves it when you give them the down under, Roots?
My mom.
She loves it a lot.
Anyway, hello everyone. If I missed you, I apologize. Thank you everyone for showing up and showing out. We love it. We love it that you're here. Can't wait to get retarded. Let's get retarded, Roots. Can't wait to get started after talking all of that shit. Why don't we kick it off by talking about a Quest game? Batman Arkham Shadow, announced exclusively for Quest 3 from Meta-owned studio behind Iron Man VR. This from Scott Hayden at Road to VR. We've been waiting a long time for a fully fledged Batman VR game, and now Meta announced we're getting one later this year, exclusive to Quest 3. Developed by Meta's Camouflage and Oculus Studios, and created in partnership with Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment and DC, Batman Arkham Shadow is little more than a teaser trailer for now, appended with a late 2024 release date. That said, it's likely we're in for a Batman vs. Ratcatcher saga as hordes of rats stream in from the streets of Gotham. The Ratcatcher, aka Otis Flanagan, was an Easter egg character in the console and PC title Batman Arkham City from 2011, but has made no appreciable appearance in a Batman video game since the release of the console title Batman Dark Tomorrow. A name tag is also seen in the trailer, reading Dr. Harleen Quinzel, aka Harley Quinn. Acquired by Meta in 2022, Camouflage is most recently known for having developed Marvel's Iron Man VR. The PSVR timed exclusive eventually made it to the Quest platform nearly 2 years after its initial release, spurred by the studio's acquisition and incorporation into Oculus Studios. When it launched on PSVR in July 2020, Road to VR gave Iron Man a rating of great in our full review, calling it VR's first great superhero game, later awarding it our PSVR Game of the Year in 2020. To say that we're expecting big things from Camouflage is a bit of an understatement. Batman Arkham Shadow promises to be the first full Batman game, which follows the PSVR action puzzle game Batman Arkham VR 2016, which includes about an hour of gameplay. We'll be tuning in to Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest on June 7th at 2 p.m. Pacific Time to learn more, as Meta promises more details will be revealed there. Batman Arkham Shadow isn't the first big-budget VR game targeting Quest 3 exclusivity later this year. Earlier this week, VR veteran studio Survios revealed its single-player horror game, Alien Rogue Incursion, is also skipping Quest 2 and Quest Pro support when it launches in holiday 2024, something that may signal the beginning of the end for Quest 2 and Quest Pro. So here we are, Roots. Like this, I think, in an age where a lot of these platform holders seem to be tone deaf to what VR enthusiasts and VR gamers want. I think that this is something that deserves a bit of praise for Meta in kind of reading the room. Years now, people have said, I want Batman in VR. And they're bringing us that. But not only are they bringing us a Batman game, they're bringing us the Batman franchise, the best, the latest installment in a franchise of what everyone regards as the best Batman games, period. And that is the Batman Arkham series. And as the article notes, we did get an earlier installment from the Arkham series with Batman Arkham VR all those years ago, but it was very short. It was great, but it was short. So now they're giving us the Batman series in VR from the studio that brought us pretty much the only great VR superhero game. I think this is a big W for Meta. What do you think?
I think it can be. I think if the game delivers what it probably will, it'll be amazing. If that game that came out in 2016, if they took that exact game and they made that a full game, that's not what I want. That was cool back then. No. You know what I mean? But that hour was super cool back then. Now it's I just want a legit Batman Arkham game in VR. And if they bring that, I think it'll be fucking amazing. It'll be a shame that I won't get to try it, but it'll be I'll caveat that. Eventually it'll come to another platform. But I'm not going to I'm not going to play the Meta exclusives on their Quest 3. I'm just not doing it. So, but I think it will be if they can deliver the game. And I'm not convinced. They are in this article. They referenced the Alien game. That game, like this game here, I would say has like a 90 to 95% chance of being amazing, because of the game that they already put out. That was developed way back when they were only doing it for Sony, and Meta just helped them move, bought them and they moved it over to Meta and they did all that. This will be a different game, as far as even scope from that Iron Man game. So I think it will be good if they deliver. And the Alien game, Survios to me is, I wouldn't even say it's a 50-50. They've been batting not good for several games in a row, and it's just like, I have to look back how many years to Westworld even to really look at a game that I thought they really did a good job. And so just because you stack Aliens onto it, let's follow up with Walking Dead Onslaught, and so you don't forget that studio brought you that piece of shit. So right. And I
well, Ruuts, in baseball, batting .333 is a great hitter. So
absolutely.
Maybe Survios,
if this was
perspective, right?
If this was baseball, I'd be a little bit more positive. I feel like the decisions they made were lazy. The red wave, all of that made that game shit. It was already kind of shit, and that kind of solidified it. And I had made in the comment, I commented in the Discord to somebody that, and I think it was Looper that corrected me, that, well, this time they don't have to knee-jerk switch it in the middle of production. And he said, actually, Aliens, they did change mid-direction because they heard that everybody liked Alien Isolation and they wanted to go more that direction. So they may have already fucked themselves again, but I don't know. Maybe at the end of the year, Aliens comes out and it's phenomenal. I'm just not going to, if I was a betting person, I wouldn't bet on it. I would bet against it, just from their previous history. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's amazing. I'm not rooting for it to suck. I'm just pointing out what I see in front of me,
Okay. Well, I share your trepidation with regard to Survios. Yeah, obviously they've been more missed than hit since the early days when they were cranking out pretty good games pretty regularly. But I don't feel the same way about Camouflage, which is the developer of this game. And I think that Batman Arkham is a uniquely well-suited series to bring to VR, especially like on a standalone. And it might not be as big of an issue for Quest 3 as it would have been for Quest 2, but not for nothing, having the advantages of setting the thing at night. It's probably going to be rainy and lots of reflections. Like this game, I guarantee you when this game comes out, people are going to be just jaw dropped at how it looks.
That's
because
not enough. That's not enough for me though. That's not enough to exclude the otother headsets. To have it jaw dropping reflections and make it look like PC. The gameplay has to be there. And I said I think that
I understand.
It will be.
I understand that that's not enough for you, and luckily I wasn't talking about a game that only has that. But it is something to note, right? That we're finally getting standalone games that look like computer games, that look like console games. That's notable. And just because I talk about that doesn't mean I'm saying that that's everything or even that that's the main thing. But it is notable and worth talking about, I would say.
Yeah.
But while a game like Batman Arkham probably wouldn't hold up today, you're right about that. I mean, it was mainly a point and click puzzle game. I would argue that Iron Man VR does hold up today, and it's still to this day, even as a 3 or 4 year old game, is the best superhero game, the only great one that we've ever seen in VR. And while that certainly had its own issues, I could, those are easy ones to fix, right? Like the node-based thing that they had going on in the home base. A couple of other small design things it had going on.
It was
all relatively small things.
All PlayStation related. It was designed for that console, and then it got moved over. So that wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't expect any of those things to be an issue. That's why I say I think there's a 90 to 95% chance that this game is amazing. There's also a slim chance that it looks amazing and the gameplay is mediocre and it's a taste of Batman world. There's a chance of that.
Yeah.
But I
There's
don't.
always a chance. Yeah.
But if they follow what Iron Man did, then it won't be, because Iron Man wasn't that. And so I have high hopes that it's gonna be good. I hope they both do well. I'm not gonna hold my breath for Aliens, and and I'll be the first one to come out and say I was wrong. That Servios fucking nailed it. I just don't think those words are gonna come out of my mouth. Not at least not in that context.
Right. Another thing that I want to point out about this, and it's going to be a very, very interesting case study because I can already see the results coming in, and I think it's great. Now beyond the fact that as a fan of comics and as a fan of Batman and Arkham, like I'm very much looking forward to this game. Beyond all of that, I'm looking forward to this for a completely different reason, and that reason is we've long held this belief in VR that if we bring the franchises that flat gamers love into VR, that they're going to come with it. And we even used to hold this belief ourselves back in the early days, but in recent years I've kind of changed my tune on this because I don't think that those traditional gamers, a lot of them, no, not all of them, but a lot of them, the majority of them, I don't think that they're swayable. I don't think it matters what game that you bring over. I think these people are old and set in their ways, and they don't want to play games a different way. They like it just fine the way it is, and when somebody tries to change, then they react harshly toward that. So here we have a prime example of a franchise that flat gamers love. This is the next Batman Arkham game. This is a widely celebrated series of games. And we're going to get an installment. I think I read that it's going to take place between the most recent one and the one before that. So we're getting a story right dead center of the most recent games. And I think that flat gamers not only are not going to come to VR to play this, they're going to fucking react violently toward the fact that they can't play it on their screens.
Depends.
What do you think, Ruuts? You think we're going to win over a bunch of gamers because if this game turns out to be the best VR game that we've ever played, do you think people are going to buy a headset to play it?
They could. If it was a game, here's the thing, like if it followed the same gameplay loop and everything, and I don't know exactly how you would do that, because it's not, I think a lot of people would be fine if they could play the game the way they've played it, but actually be in the world. Some people don't want to aim down the sight. Some people don't want to be swinging something around. Some people don't want to be doing any of the extra stuff, climbing ladders. They just want to play a game. And if they could be in it, and I would use Red Dead 2 as an example, or World of Warcraft, or any of these things, where it's, you're using a gamepad or a controller, but you're in the world and it changes everything. It really does. You know what I mean? There has to be a middle road to get those people. But if you had, say, if this game came out and say it was completely full VR, which it's going to be, and it was just so good that everybody's talking about it in the Batman world, and people are talking, it's legit. The problem why we're not getting flat gamers into VR, besides them being set in their ways, is the ones that have tried have came over and not been blown away. It's what I was saying in the Discord. Like, VR will blow everybody away initially. The new technology, it's just different, it's cool, you're in this thing, but after a while, and you've played these games, if you're coming from a flat gaming perspective of that's what you've been playing for ever, and that's the gameplay level you want, you're not going to stick around. You're going to come in, you're going to say, wow, this is cool. And you're going to say what everybody else has said, and you're going to put your headset on the thing, and it's going to start collecting dust, and you're going to go back to Call of Duty. But if you could give them the gameplay, maybe it does bring them in and keep them in. That's my biggest problem with the taste of a world, a taste of Batman, a taste of Horizon Zero Dawn. Nobody wants that anymore. The VR bubble does, but I don't know. It's just, it's so weird to me, I get it, but I don't get it. So I'm hoping that this game does deliver, and it's so good that like even flat gamers are like, fuck man, that game, I heard that's just so amazing. I want to be Batman. Because that should be the goal. I want to be Batman, and I want to do everything Batman can do in those games. I don't want to go in there and point and click and solve a puzzle. It was cool in 2016. I just don't want to do that in 2024. I want to go in there. I want to fucking be Batman and feel like I'm swinging around and doing everything he does. And I don't want to feel like there's anything a flat gamer can do in their game that I can't do in mine. Like mine needs to be superior in every way. Gameplay, and I can climb ladders, and I can fucking really fly around the city and stuff.
I agree with that, wholeheartedly. I do still think that Batman Arkham VR is a fun and worthwhile experience, but it is not what I want from this sequel. What made Batman Arkham VR great was the story and the environments. And it wasn't the gameplay. It was the story and the environments that made it awesome.
You're right. And honestly, if it wasn't as point and clicky and they did have a full-fledged 10-hour like mystery, it probably would be really good, because it was good and it is good. It's just not what I want. Like when I see this and it makes you seem like it's this action-packed game. I want to see flat gamers flooding into VR. And that's why I get so excited about flat to VR, because I think those kind of ventures and studios are what's really going to bridge that gap and propel things forward. Because right now we're at a standstill. Things are spinning, and we're all, for lack of a better term, in the bubble, sucking each other off, and nobody's really thinking about a lot of these things that will bring everybody in, or very few people are, and developer wise anyway. So
I think more and more developers are starting to get clued into this stuff, and certainly Flat to VR, you mentioned Flat to VR Studios is definitely making it kind of our mission to enlighten everyone, and there will be more news on that front in the coming months. Bad Robo says Arkham Knight is 100% possible on PC VR and even PSVR 2. I'll agree with that, and I wouldn't discount Quest 3 yet. We haven't seen what it can do by itself yet.
True.
And it has to be significant, right? Because in essence, these studios, Camouflage, Servios, they're saying, I don't care. It's too bad that we can't sell to that 20 million headsets over there. It's too much of a hit to take to develop for that thing. We're coming over here. So that in and of itself should tell you that this is going to be a significant jump for standalone VR. So while that statement is absolutely true, maybe Quest 3 can do it too. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of a downgrade here and there. Just like any other kind of developing for console, there are certain things you have to optimize around. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as well with regard to console gaming. But yeah, I'm excited to see what this thing can do. And if for nothing else, for the reason that we've mentioned many times on this channel, and that is the baseline moving up. When the baseline moves up, then everybody wins from that, especially when we're talking about third-party multi-platform games.
Yeah, it also tells me too, at least in Servios and Camouflage, Camouflage, they own Camouflage, right? Like I guarantee Servios this is a great deal for them, because I guarantee Meta gave them money, and that there's no way you take the bulk of the industry and nix those headsets out unless Meta's giving them funding and saying, look, you could sell 1,000 games, we're going to pay you for 2,000 up front, or whatever, some fucking crazy deal that they're like, yeah, guaranteed sale, yeah, we'll take it, and they'll also
maybe
there has to be.
That's possible. There is another possibility too. There's a possibility that Meta has sold them on the idea and convinced them that the Quest 3 Lite, or whatever it turns out to be called, is going to be as successful as Quest 2 was. And then you're taking away, if you believe that, and I'm not saying that I do, but if you can convince these studio heads that that's going to be the case, then there's not as much risk. Even if they can sell half,
Yeah,
10 million headsets,
it's a good
then
point. They
it
may
eats a
be
lot of
privy.
that they're leaving on the table, right?
You're right. They may be privy to future what's coming headset sales wise. And Bad Robot has a good point. You have the overestimate the power of the Quest 3 West. Half of the power goes to the higher resolution of the Quest 3 compared to the Quest 2, and that was one of the things that I've kind of found with when we went to Quest Pro, and then when Quest 3 came out, it was like it never seemed like anything really ran better. It was just always everything was just have a more powerful display, and now so it's got to take more power to generate, and so that chip is really not as much of a generational leap, or I guess as much of a leap as you would think. But I don't know. What is do you know how much VRAM the RAM it has in there?
Not off the top of my head, but in general, I'm not really trying to estimate at all. All I'm saying is that we don't know,
Right.
because we've never seen games that are developed specifically for that
That's
without trying to back engineer it for Quest 2. I'll tell you what I do know. I know that Quest 2 has already done some amazing things. Games like Asgard's Wrath 2 runs on Quest 2, and the Assassin's Creed game runs on Quest 2, and there's a number of others that were close already. So even if it's just this much better, it's significant, because we're talking about the gap between high end VR and mainstream VR getting smaller, and when high end VR and mainstream VR are the same thing, then I think that's a good starting point for VR. Like, we're still trying to get to the starting line in terms of the big picture here. And I think we don't really get started until we make up that gap that Meta voluntarily placed there 5 years ago when they said standalone is the way. We're not supporting IMVR anymore. Until that gap closes, we can't really even get started. So that's why it's so important. That's why it's so significant. And that's why I continue to talk about it.
Yeah, well, time will tell. We'll see. I mean, only time will tell as far as how good the game is. Hopefully it is. And hopefully I think you are right. Not even hopefully you're right. There's a lot of truth in making a game for one headset, optimizing it for one, right? And that's kind of the way they should be doing everything. And then if you want to port it over somewhere else, that's fine. That should be PC first, and then
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it come to Steam. This Batman game specifically. I don't know that it ever will, but we've seen other games that were heavily funded by Meta make their way over eventually. Medal of Honor comes to mind. The Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. A lot of Meta money in that one, and eventually they let it come over to Steam.
Well, and if not, then like you said, maybe one of my other company branded Meta operating system ran headsets will play it. So
that's a good point. I didn't even think about it in that context, but we could have, 18 months from now, there could be another Quest 3 headset that isn't Quest 3 that has the extra VRAM to push it, whatever that number is. That's really going to be a game changer. Although it's probably going to be more of a Quest 4 era game changer. It's going to be a game changer nonetheless.
Don't worry, we don't have to wait that long. Meta's already signaled that their cycle's really short. So all the people that are like, get rid of Quest 3 when Quest 4 comes out like in a year, and they're talking about getting rid of it in 1.5 to 2 years. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't think it was going to happen to me too. Well, hopefully it doesn't, but we'll see.
We will see. Regardless, I'm excited for this. I do want to say one more thing before we move on, though, because people always do the same thing. When the reveal trailer comes out, it's always a cinematic trailer, and people take that as a sign that the gameplay must suck or there must be something. It's always cinematic. And this one that's coming
end of the year
on June 7th.
It's so early, dude. It's so early.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This trailer that's coming at the Summer Games Fest, This is 100% going to be a cinematic trailer. So everyone just get ready for it now. We're not going to see gameplay until this game's a couple months out from launch. It's a normal thing, and it's okay.
Yeah, either it's going to be good or it's not. Like I said, I'm betting. If I bet on these games, I'd say it's going to be good. 90 to 95% chance. A very slim chance that they don't nail it, just because of the funding, the experience, and their past superhero game. So I think it'll be cool.
Agreed. You know what? Why don't we talk about, instead of a game that we think might be cool, let's talk about a game that we know will be cool.
Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Yuj.
And we're the lead designers here at Mighty Ice.
We know a lot of you have been waiting a little while now, so we're super excited to share what we've planned.
Wanderer is a VR time travel adventure series where you step back in time to rewrite the events of the past to reshape the future.
We want to introduce Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate, a remake of the original award-winning game Wanderer for the next generation of VR.
We're excited to share that Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate is going to launch on PlayStation VR 2, MetaQuest, Pico, and more to be announced soon.
So let's dive in and see what's new.
We've developed a state-of-the-art full-body avatar system using Epic's MetaHuman technology. A dynamically responsive avatar, as well as eye tracking, create an experience designed to give players more presence than ever before.
This feature is vital to understanding who you become and where and when you are, as players find themselves in the shoes of a mix of characters in time. It will allow you to fully embody the diverse and eclectic cast within the game.
Alongside this, we're excited to introduce our new physics-driven platforming and interaction systems. These give players the ability to explore and interact with our worlds in new and creative ways.
Players can now swim, jump, crouch, climb, zip line, and swing their way through Wanderer in a true adventure style. And the next generation physics interactions create a more lifelike and believable world. Advanced haptics allow players to truly feel these interactions and the world around them.
Within Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate, players can venture into 3 exciting new levels, giving plenty of opportunity for exploration of expansive and rich environments. The art team have been hard at work, giving the worlds within Wanderer a stunning makeover, with more detail and richer lighting elevating the visuals to new heights.
And Samuel, your trusty companion, has had his fair share of upgrades too. A new UI and storage system, and a highly requested new feature, codenamed Echo Diviner, allows you to recover lost items through time. Samuel also has a whole new time travel upgrade, but more on that at another time.
Our teams have also been busy completely overhauling our NPC and combat systems. NPCs are now more grounded, better looking, and more reactive to the player.
Our new and improved combat system has been designed around a whole new set of weapons and ammo. This allows players to be more creative with how they solve the various combat situations they encounter through time.
As you can see, this is more than just a visual upgrade. This is Wanderer reimagined. Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate, is how we see the future of adventure in VR.
We've incorporated so many more features we can't wait to share with you. We hope you're as excited as we all are.
Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate, delayed until fall. This from Henry Stockdale, Upload VR. Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate has been delayed until fall. Previously scheduled for June 27 on all major VR platforms, developer Mighty Ice confirmed its upcoming remake needs more time. Calling this an incredibly ambitious journey, rebuilt from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5, Mighty Ice states that the Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate release date is being pushed back to meet, quote, our vision and quality expectations. Here's the full statement. We knew Wanderer, the Fragments of Fate was an incredibly ambitious project when we set out on this journey. Not only have we rebuilt the game from the ground up on Unreal Engine 5 using our new next-gen VRAF systems, we've also added a ton of new and exciting features. We want you to play the best, most polished version of the game, one that meets our vision and quality expectations. This means we need to spend a few extra months in development, and we've made the difficult decision to move our launch to the 12th of September 2024. We haven't taken this decision lightly, and we know this news will be disappointing. We are confident this delay will ensure that we can deliver the best gaming experience, one that's worth the wait. In the meantime, keep your eyes peeled over the next few weeks for some exclusive new gameplay footage and an epic new feature that will have you banging on for days.
You know who loves to bang on for days?
I do.
Sorry.
Yada, yada, yada. We already know that the history of Wanderer. No need to finish this article out. Interesting, Roots. It's interesting that they've decided that they need more time. 6 weeks out. So a couple of questions here. Like, obviously, they're pretty far from having this thing in the state that they wanted it to be in. And I do want to praise them for making the decision to do the right thing and make sure the game's ready before they launch it. At the same time, it makes me wonder why they set the release date in the first place. I mean, if it's that far off, this far off from the end of June, then obviously they were setting the launch date way before they got the game done.
Something must have happened.
A little bit strange.
Something must have changed. Somebody quit or something big happened that they thought, oh, fuck, man, you know what I mean? This is going to push back our time frame. And at least they were able to see it now. But I mean, I guess it's, obviously it's like you said, it's clear to them now that June's not soon enough, or it's too soon, 6 weeks. So, at least it's going to come out and, the version that we would want, right? Not be all janky.
Yeah. Yeah. And that I think is the main takeaway here is that at least they're going to deliver an exceptional experience, because of the game as it was, it's only a couple years old. And it was amazing already. It was already an amazing game. So I think that they know that they're kind of up against it here. Like, they really need to deliver something compelling to convince people that this is a journey worth taking again, which is difficult, Roots. It's a difficult thing when you're talking about essentially a story-driven puzzler. And we all know how the story ends, and we all know how to work the puzzles. So, I mean, what that leaves is a lot of presentation, right? And hopefully there's more to it than that. But at the very least, this thing just has to be so over the top gorgeous that it merits a second 12 hours of my life to be put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then all the new people coming into VR, and hopefully, this is what every developer should be trying to do. And I don't know how you do it, and maybe it's just inadvertently doing it. You really do want to have flat gamers see this. Like if you could get them to actually realize what this is, as far as like this time traveling thing where you kind of almost quantum leap-ish, right? Like, the premise is super cool. And just even if you had this as a flat game, I think people would like the premise. So, like, if you could get some flat gamers over into VR to try it, or, if there's enough talk about how good it is. We know the story, the gameplay, everything else is already amazing, but get it to that next level visually as well. I think that could help as well. So.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that this is a game that is uniquely a VR game. While the premise certainly should appeal to anyone who's like a fan of, great stories and time traveling, this is a game that is uniquely a VR game, and is a great example of the potential for VR games when they're done right. So you're right. Like, even if we can get this, that's the other big thing. And I think it's probably the biggest thing with this is, sure, we already had Wanderer before. Who didn't have Wanderer before? Quest players. This is going to be something that's new for all of the legions and legions of VR gamers out there that only have standalone. So I think that distinction that you're drawing is actually pretty significant in this case because, you know, I would say 99.999% of all VR demos these days are standalone in nature. So having something like this on a Quest headset might actually convert a few people.
Yeah, and it gets you suck you in story wise pretty quick, right? I can't imagine anybody that's like enjoys that style of a game, even flat, that they wouldn't be like, wow, I want to continue, see where this goes, right?
Looper says also for the PSVR 2 players that didn't have PSVR 1. I suppose there's a few of those out there. I don't know how many, but I'd say there certainly are a few people that are new and chose PSVR 2 as their first headset.
Hey, there's people out there. I have a couple customers that I've been talking about VR and stuff that has PS5, and he's been asking about it. And I was telling him, you know, this is the thing. This is why I hope Contractor Showdown goes to it, because I was telling him about Contractor Showdown, telling him it was on, you know, wasn't on PSVR 2, but if it was, that's what I would recommend to him, because he only plays Warzone, right? And he's a gun person too in real life, so he would love aiming down the sights, but he doesn't have that option yet. So hopefully they bring that over. So
absolutely. Yeah, and you know what? I don't. This shit. I had a comment that I was going to respond to, but I lost it. So.
Well, Headbite is asking for a poll. I think I'm not. If they. What the
poll? You know who loves a good poll?
Yeah, she does. She loves it a little too much.
Let me find what's Headbite think we should poll on.
That's what I want to know. I was just kind of curious. We jumped all over the place there. While Mepper was saying that there's methods of optimizing UE5 VR that are different from UE4. I guarantee you have this idea of how long it's going to take, and but because it's so far out, is what Wes is saying is so weird, because you would think, you know, of course, maybe they're just not overly optimistic about it, saying we can just do it. A lot of people just think we can do it, and then they get up to a couple weeks away and they think, oh fuck, no, we can't do this. So
yeah, and there could be more to it than meets the eye. This is a multi-platform launch. I happen to know from experience that Meta likes to put a pretty big influence sometimes on when games launch, like certain games, and it very well could just be Meta thinks it's a better time for them, or Sony for that matter. There could be a lot playing into it, not just one thing specifically. So I can't really pretend that I know. Radio Runt says, I am new to PSVR 2 who didn't have a PSVR 1. Yes, but I'm also quite sure that you have probably played Wanderer before on your PC.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. He said he was kind of bored. He regrets the decision again. You say this every time, but then you acquiesce and you're like, oh yeah, that's right, GT7. You know, you have your $550. Well, I guess if you include the PS5, you're over $1,000 GTA machine. GT7.
Go play Madison, Radio, right?
Yeah, go do some, and you know there's going to be something else that's going to come out eventually. I mean, I don't 100%. Play the PlayStation VR 2 that much myself, but I've had several games that I've really enjoyed on it. So
I think Radio Runt likes to try to get a reaction out of people, because there isn't an episode that goes by that he doesn't either say that he regrets his purchase of PSVR 2, or he gave it a break there for a few weeks so he could shit on Demio Battles, but he's back to PSVR 2 again.
Maybe he'll mix them both.
Yeah.
He shit on both at the same time.
Exactly. Anyways, yeah, I didn't have a lot to say about this. I just wanted to once again reaffirm that this is the right move. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that there's enough new content in this game to make it worthwhile for someone like me, which I'm not that hard to please when you're talking about one of the best games I've ever played, and I still haven't been back to it. So I'm sure it'll be fun, even if it's just a graphical upgrade. But with that said, let's move on to something that I've never played before, and everyone's favorite topic, like Radio Run, a new horror game that's coming up.
Don't take me for a fool, Booker. Don't you ever dare. I know what you found. I know what you did back
What would you do to save your daughter? Would you sacrifice the whole world?
I would do anything.
Daddy, I want to go home.
I can't follow it. Resident Evil meets Silent Hill in virtual reality. The Bounds VR focuses on deep psychological horror. This from Joseph Earl at mixednews.com. The Bounds VR aims to combine the game mechanics of Resident Evil with the dark atmosphere of Silent Hill to create a unique VR horror experience. Ruuts, it plans on mixing Resident Evil and Silent Hill to make a unique game. I bet it's going to be totally unique.
Well, I'll tell you what, as long as they actually bring both of those, the best of both of those, like I was just telling you between, I'm not really that much of a horror fan, but I want to play that game. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be fucking crazy.
The Bounds VR takes you to an eerie mansion in the American South of Louisiana and relies on voodoo elements such as the mysterious figure of Baron Samedi. As the protagonist, Booker, you must search for your missing daughter and uncover a mysterious curse. With the Bounds VR, the team at Build the Light Studio wants to tell a deep psychological horror story, the outcome of which you influence yourself with your decisions. According to the developers, the game is based on the classic mechanics and pacing of Resident Evil, but focuses more on the atmospheric horror mood of Silent Hill. In addition to combat with firearms and melee weapons, there will also be paranormal powers to help solve puzzles. Instead of relying on jump scares, the Bounds VR aims to leave a lasting impression. Players should remember their feelings during the experience and feel fear and discomfort. The Bounds VR is scheduled for release in 2024 for PlayStation VR 2 and SteamVR. For a first impression, watch the trailer, which we just watched. This game's been coming for a while now, Ruuts. And I don't know, it looks pretty good. They've been showing bits and pieces of this game more and more frequently on their socials. And still not giving us a lot to go on with regard to exactly when they're going to bring this game. But just by judging from what I've seen of it, it's already looking pretty polished. And while it might not be the most original concept for a game in the world, it doesn't necessarily have to. If you're emulating the greats, then your game can too be great. Doesn't have to be original to be great.
You just got to make it your own. You know, just give it something that, you know, differentiates it. It's not a clone. But yeah, no, I think it sounds good. I mean, I was going to ask you because I took great comfort in seeing this. I don't see Quest on there. This is developed for PlayStation and Steam, so this means it's going to be a high quality experience, and they're not going to have to dumb it down for the Quest ecosphere. So that's the next step up from a Quest 3 developed is actually developed for Steam or PlayStation.
Yeah.
So that makes me does make me happy that this is going to be could be on the level of what I would want in a VR experience or game.
Yeah. As I recall, this game was announced as a PSVR 2 game initially. So the fact that it's coming to Steam is cool as well. This is something that we do frequently see. And with the luck that we've been having over the last year or so with these horror games, I'm hopeful that there's something here. You know, it's going to be hard to follow up and act like Madison, but we still have great titles like this. We've still got Numata coming. So it's not over yet, Radio Rant. They're just going to
Visage.
keep on coming. Visage, there you go.
We still got the UV
You know,
VR mod too, so with horror
yeah,
games.
we're going to do that. Well, yeah, we'll be doing that within the next couple of months, I feel, because I am looking forward to that. But no, you know, I know it seems like a lot to some players out there, particularly the ones that don't like horror games. But here's the thing: a lot of us do, and when you look at the VR horror catalog, there was a golden age for VR horror. That golden age was called the age of PSVR 1. And when PSVR 1 died, so did great horror games. There were years that we went without having a great horror game. Now PSVR 2 is back. Now, all of a sudden, magically, we're starting to get great horror games again. So while that might be off-putting to those of you who aren't into it, just deal with it and let me have my horror games, okay?
Awesome Tatum has a good point. He says, you know what we need is more horror games in VR. There's not very many. And I agree 100%. We need, now this is the thing. And I've even said, you know, we don't need shooters or enough of this or whatever. As long as I mean, there's not only so many slices of the pizza pie, right? Like just because a horror game comes out and you're like,
Right.
fuck, there goes my shooter. You know, I guarantee that there's other studios making other games out there. And this one, if they weren't making this horror game, probably weren't making the game you wanted anyway. So
Yeah,
it is what it is.
That's the thing is that it's not about the genre. It's about it being a good game.
Correct.
You know, there needs to be good games. And the fact that that most of the great games that have come out over last year have been horror games is obviously off-putting to people who aren't into that. But I got to say, I would rather have it that way than like, you know, maybe the last 18 months was the golden age for tower defense. And like we had a bunch of great tower defense games. I would probably be sitting here doing the same thing that all these people that hate horror are like, man, just give me a horror game and quit giving me all these awesome roguelites. Oh, there's another one, right?
Exactly. You know what I do want more of is I want more games like Max Mustard that are platformers, right? Like traditional platformers, works for a reason, works very well in VR, and I love them. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
only a couple.
you know, you might get your wish pretty soon. Jeff Grubb is speculating that Sony's going to announce a showcase any
Ooh.
minute now, and that we're going to have one before the end of the month.
Well, I don't get
if we-
too excited about too many PlayStation VR 2 games these days. I mean, it's not hidden to anybody that I prefer my PC, but I would absolutely have on day one and be Astrobot 1. I had a hard time finishing it, not because I couldn't, I just didn't want to. Like I kept like trying to drag it out, right? Because you only get that first playthrough once. That's how much I loved it. So
It was a great game. You know, as great as we remember it too, I guarantee that most people don't remember just how good and how polished and how big and just how nuanced it was. That was really an exceptional game. And if I ever hook my PSVR 1 up again, I need to make sure that I play through it.
Astrobot 2 will be 10 times better, and I'll tell you why. I've already played part of it flat in that demo, and the way the controllers feel and the things that they do with it, like that blew me away of what that technology of the DualSense can do more than anything, right? And so it's the same technology and it's the same game, but now it's going to be in VR. So they're going to use that. It'll probably be the best utilization of that, the controllers, when it comes out, because you know the flat version was just that good.
I agree, and the team there obviously knows how to get the most out of the hardware. They always have been known for that, so I would expect nothing less. Um, and honestly, when you talk about, if we get a PlayStation showcase, what are the most likely titles to be announced for PSVR 2? I would say Astrobot's probably at the top of that heap, and then number two, I would say Wipeout. A new Wipeout game has been rumored for a while. And again, just another one that would be a surefire, awesome title.
So
for the
I have a
platform.
question for Radio Runt then. If those two games get announced and come out, is the PlayStation VR 2 now still a waste? Because those are two banger games that I know that he probably would love playing. So,
No, it didn't come out in the first year, so it don't count.
oh, that's right. Never mind. It's garbage. It's trash.
You know what they're going to do, right? They're going to have the PlayStation showcase, and they're going to announce Resident Evil 9 VR.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's been a Resident Evil. It's been a Resident Evil world for a while in there, and actually, it's been good. So
We never gave proper coverage to Resi 4.
no,
We were away when that game launched, and we might have come back and talked about it a little bit and gave some quick impressions. But if the calendar slows down in the summertime, that might be one that we should circle back to. And because I didn't play deep into it at all, and I want to. So, what do I do when I want to play a game? Cover it.
that's right. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Anyways, the Project Louisiana, the Bounds VR, is scheduled to come this year. It is primarily a PlayStation VR game, also coming to SteamVR, which equates to most likely a high quality game, or at least a good looking one, if nothing else. The footage of it looks awesome. Follow them on Twitter. They're revealing a lot more and more of it these days as we're getting closer and closer to launch. So, yeah.
I saw something no one was meant to see. They took someone very precious to me. Now, I'm coming for them. VR mod makes Watch Dogs playable with a PC VR headset. This from mixnews.com. A VR modder, Luke Ross, has brought Ubisoft's Watch Dogs to virtual reality. Access requires a Patreon membership. The Watch Dogs Real VR mod has been available since Sunday. It allows you to experience the open world game with a 6 degrees of freedom tracking and stereoscopy. The game can be played with a gamepad or mouse and keyboard. To play Watch Dogs in VR, you need a computer, a PC VR compatible headset, a Patreon membership with Luke Ross, $10, and the original game, which you can buy on Steam for $20.
Since the game was released in 2014, it has a relatively low system requirements and could run well on a moderate computer. Ian Higdon of Eurogamer gives a preview of the VR mod in a YouTube video. So we're not obviously going to watch the full 30-minute Ian Higdon playthrough of this game. But you guys know where to go if you want to do that. Just go check out the Eurogamer YouTube channel. Interesting choice here, Roots, from Luke Ross. We've been calling on him to do something else, right? He's been stuck on Far Cry for a little while. We've been screaming for, The Last of Us or something really awesome to be his next title. And this isn't that, but it is another fairly notable franchise from the world of flat gaming in Ubisoft's Watch Dogs. And this is kind of the original, the first one from, I think, 2014 this game came out. This is the one that kind of garnered all the praise and really made the name for the franchise. So I've never played Watch Dogs, Roots, but this looked like it could be an interesting one to consume from inside the headset.
Yeah, I didn't play it too much myself. My son played it back in the day. That's my exposure to it. I remember seeing him running around doing some stuff. I see in the chat, Looper says Root shitting on Ubisoft in 3, 2, 1. No, this is this is when Ubisoft was still good. This is before they went to shit. But yeah, no, this is I guess some people in the chat even said the first two weren't the best in the series. But I just think that,
well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just gonna say I just think that it's you might why not start with the first one, and I guarantee he's probably gonna put them all in there. So we'll see.
Yeah. There was a bit of controversy around the first one, and maybe the second one too. I don't know, because their trailer for the game wasn't exactly honest. So they did this gameplay reveal at E3, 2014, I think it was, or maybe 2013, and the game that they showed looked like a game from today. Like it had a lot of reflections. This is before ray tracing and all of that. It had a lot of reflections and a lot of moving parts in it. It was really expected to be the next GTA. From that trailer, people got so excited about it. And then when the game came out, obviously the technology of that time was not capable of producing what people were expecting that game to be. It wasn't magic. So when the game turned out not to be magic, obviously they got a lot of shit and a lot of pushback over it. With that said, there are mods now that you can mod this game up to make it look like the game in that trailer now.
Oh, wow. 10 years later.
Are those are those mods compatible with the VR mod? I don't know, but
they should
given some of the things that we've seen recently with GTA, for example, with that thing getting modded up, and we've seen similar things with Fallout and with Skyrim and a number of other games. I would think so, right, Roots? I think it would be at least worth a try to install that graphics upgrade pack if you're going to be playing this.
Yeah, usually the modders will take that into consideration, and I don't believe that it's like directly in conflicting with each other. So should run good. So playing Watch Dogs 2 in co-op. I told you I thought they had co-op, so I guess that was in 2. It says Watch Dogs 1 was okay. I just remember there was co-op at some point in there, which obviously in a game like that, the world is huge and open. I think it'd be cool driving around cars and stuff. So
right. I think that's something that VR is sorely lacking, is big open world games.
Yeah.
I mean, we had Fallout and Skyrim back in the day, but we haven't had much more since then. So that's where these mods really shine.
How crazy is it too? And I know some people are gonna not like what I'm about to say, but how crazy is it that Bethesda was so fucking lazy when they put those games out? Like, they could have made them so much better. The UIs and just a lot of things are very weird. So much so, just like every Bethesda game, they've got to, they rely on the modders 10 years down the road to fix everything they didn't put in there. Starfield was the worst. So I don't know. It's crazy to me. I feel like if they'd done that, made them better from this, because a lot of people's only memory of Fallout 4 or Skyrim VR is a little janky, right? They didn't get to try it after all the mods and on better hardware.
Well, back in the day, once upon a time, playing those games on Oculus Rift, which was half of the market or more at that time, was not supported. Like, you literally had to mod the game to play it on your headset,
right?
Because there was a rift between ZeniMax and Oculus, and because of that, there's some like legal action between the two companies, and because of that, Bethesda didn't officially support Oculus headsets. And even years after all that was kind of history, it didn't really work right. Like, I remember when I got into VR and started playing like Doom VFR, for example. Like, I decided to get it on PC because of the limitations of the Move controllers. I wanted to play it with thumbsticks, and I get on PC and it don't just work. I was expecting it to just work on my Rift, and it didn't.
Should.
So yeah, it was a bad time. On top of all the regular jank that comes in a Bethesda game, you also had the fact that it didn't actually really support the Oculus headset at all anyway. So yeah, it was a less than optimal experience.
Yeah, and JPEG is exactly what Bethesda's philosophy is: create a skeleton basis for a good game, then let the modding community make it great. And with Starfield, they screwed themselves. Like, there's like the way that they built it, they can only go so far, Wes. Like, modders have tried to do things and figured out you can't do this or that, and so they can't really be made great like Skyrim or Fallout has been able to with the mods.
People still care about that game.
Was it Starfield? I don't know. What's funny is, does anybody remember when it came out and every influencer out there that's flat gaming was saying, and every article was saying, this game is fucking best game in the world. It's better than your mom. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter ever. And so the ratings were super high. And then other people that were honest were saying, dude, it's not that good. And it's slowly been going down because people are actually, that's fading. People are realizing, this game kind of sucks. I don't know why did I waste 100 hours? So I don't know.
Prophecy 777 says Sony has announced their new CEO. That's interesting enough.
There you go. And Looper says he finished Starfield recently. It was fine. Yeah, I'm looking for fine when I want to play a game. Like, I want to play a game that's like fine. I want an amazing game. Well, you have VR. You have Starfield VR, and Nihilus Ryan says if Starfield was in VR, I'd be all up in it. Well, No Man's Sky is in VR, and it's everything that Starfield promised it would be. Okay,
so Sony's getting 2 new CEOs, actually.
Wow.
They're sharing power. One of them is Herman Holst, the president of PlayStation Studios, the former head of Guerrilla Games. So those of you who are sick of Horizon games, too bad. Every game that comes out for the next 10 years is going to be a Horizon game now.
I just want a full-fledged Horizon game. I think it would be badass. That mod that we played, of course, we played it, our hardware wasn't the best, but having that game built from the ground up in VR, like the actual game, story, everything, that's what I want. We got the taste. Now give us the full-fledged.
I agree totally. Anyways, Roots, are we excited about Watch Dogs at all? It looks cool, man, like an open world type GTA style game with a little bit of cyberpunk sprinkled in there. It's like GTA 5, but with like leaning on tech culture and kind of this Big Brother narrative.
Yeah,
sound cool to you?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it, and it says I need a computer. Check. Got a computer. A PC VR compatible headset. A membership with Luke Ross.
Kinda. Do you have a PC headset, Roots?
No, I got a hybrid, but it'll work. It still connects. Actually, I wish it was a only PC headset, but they don't have those yet with display ports that I can find that I want. But yeah, no, I think it looks good. Like it could be fun. We got the mod.
I agree.
We have the mod, right? So
yeah, just one more on a growing list, right, of cool shit to play. But I don't know. Like I do think that we'll get into this at some point. I don't know if it'll be at any point soon because I already had like I don't know, like probably a backlog of 30 just mods. Right. There's probably already 30 games that I want to play. We'll just put this on and make it number 31. But before I do any of that, this is coming in just a couple of weeks.
She can feel them slipping through her soul, following the threads of her mind. She's here to find them, the ones who hide. She needs their help with a promise, a question. But it's never so simple, is it? Wisdom has a price. There's always a part of you that changes. A part of you that darkens. And a part of you that dies.
Over there, that pool. I can feel them. Feel them everywhere. The lost ones. They are watching us. You should never have come here. They can see us.
What is going to happen? It's time to find out. How can we make it happen?
It's time to find out. Why are they watching?
It's time to find out.
What are they waiting for?
Senua, what are you waiting for? I'm here.
Watching. More than one.
I know you.
Where are they?
Where are you? What do they want?
I don't like it.
I'm scared.
This is too
Mad woman.
Their eyes.
everywhere. I can feel them boring into her.
Witch.
What is she supposed to do? Do something.
Ask them.
What do you want me to do?
Lost soul who fought through hell to find us.
You were lost. Not anymore.
Are you ready for what you will find here?
What we will find.
What if it's all for nothing? What is that? There. They are waiting. There.
It's them.
It's you.
What will they do to her?
What will we do to us?
Touch it.
And feel
You're mine.
your voices.
All the parts of you that are broken.
You can be whole.
All the grief. All the rage.
All the fear. Everything I've seen. Everything I've done has led me to this place.
We've come so far.
Not far enough. Say it.
You are ready.
Tell them. I am here. Now. What if we get lost forever?
What will happen to them?
What will happen to you? I will not let them down.
She is ready. They know. Go.
Who are these around you, Senua? Those you have saved, or those you led to death?
Hellblade 2 is almost here, ladies and gentlemen. And I, for one, am freakishly fucking over the moon excited about this. Roots, we often hear people criticize trailers for being cinematic and not gameplay. But what happens when the gameplay is cinematic? That's a bit of a different experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. That's what happens. It looks like that game. I saw people in the chat asking, "Oh, this is in VR." Well, it is if you have a PC and you have the UEVR mod. You were saying during the trailer that you think this is going to work well with it, right?
I think it will. I don't know it will, but I think it will. And we'll take a look at the spec sheet in a minute because they have published that. But I want to point out to a lot of the new people here that haven't been in VR for 6 and 7 years like we have. One of the best games I've ever played in VR was the prequel to this, Hellblade, the Senua's Sacrifice. It too was a pretty game, but it wasn't all about that. It was about, I mean, it had a lot of great things about it, but its depiction of mental illness, the design of the levels, I mean, there were gameplay mechanics in this, Roots, that I've never seen in any other game. And this is a pretty basic hack and slash base that they're building on here. But some of the design of the puzzles were unique to this game. I mean, there's even in the original, do you remember the cave level where you go into the cave and there's no light for the whole level, but you use haptics to find your way through, like you're feeling for the wind.
Yes.
And the controller kind of vibrates when you get closer to the exit of the cave. There's just so many different things like that. It was a relatively short game. Like I think I played through it in less than 15 hours. It was short for a flat game. But it was good. There were distinct levels to it, like 4 or 5 different levels, and they were all very different from one another. And it was just an excellent game from start to finish, and I expect nothing less from this one.
Remember when it was first being announced and we found out it wasn't in VR? We were like, fuck, man, this is bullshit. And then just because of the way life has unfolded since then, it's been a couple of years, we now have a mod that very likely is going to run it on day one. And it's amazing. Now, Looper has a good point. He says that the spec sheet isn't going to matter too much because, you know, there's for flat. It'll kind of give us an idea of what they're saying for flat is, and maybe we can gauge it, but you won't really be able to know till you get in there. Or like Wes was even saying, you know, recommending when we were talking before that we're probably going to have to scale it back a bit, right? And and I said, I'm going to try Ultra, but we'll see. But yeah, it's
we don't know that it'll work, but I have fair confidence that it will. I mean, I think I'm going to get this on day one, right? Like we're going to try to play this next week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely we should try to do it on day one, and we'll talk about it that week.
But if you look at the spec sheet for it, it's not the highest, like it's not Microsoft Flight Simulator or anything like that. Did you catch the spec sheet link on the notes, Roots?
I thought I did. Maybe it was this one instead. Maybe it was. Let me take a look and see.
Yeah.
Because I have.
Anyways,
yeah, go ahead. And
I can just
Oh, I
describe
see
it
it.
to people.
Oh, I see it.
So they give recommended specs for low, medium, high, and very high. Low obviously being 1080p, as is medium. Recommended being 1440p, and then of course very high being 4K. But even looking at recommended, which is probably going to be the first one that I try. I don't have a 4090. I'm not going to try to VR this at very high settings, but they recommend people play it on high. And the recommended spec to play this flat on high is 10700K and a base 3080 and 8 gigabytes of VRAM. 16 gigabytes of system room. So Ruuts, I mean that's not the highest specs in the world. Like my computer is somewhat better than that one is, right? So at the very least, I would expect to be able to knock it back to medium and run this thing. Am I crazy in my expectations here?
No, I would say you're good too. And you have to take into consideration resolution as well. Like even that one that you said that was recommended, that's at 1440p, and so that's gonna change things. I don't know what it would be in the headset for the mod, but right. I think you should be able to get. I mean, you got a 3080 Ti and you got a 12700, so
right. And I'll point out to play flat, the recommended graphics card this is high at 4K, 4080, and the previous gen equivalent to a 4080 is a 3080 Ti. Am I wrong about that?
That's what I've heard. I don't know exactly. It's typically the Ti is usually the next one.
Right.
So
I think I'm going to be able to play this, and people are going to come back and say, but these are specs to make the game run at 30 frames per second. And that is true.
Oh,
this is like a console game. These are the specs you need to make it run a smooth 30 frames. But these specs also are including upscaling technologies like DLSS 3, FSR 3, which they mention at the bottom. You can use those to bump the frame rate. If you want to play with high frame rates, you can do it that way. So DLSS has been iffy for me in VR. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I've had very good results with FSR. So I'm optimistic here that this is going to be at least in a playable state on medium.
And people are saying,
week.
damn, a very high, or a 4080 for very high. And you don't have to, that's, at least they're being honest, right? Because other games, this is how they usually do for marketing. They'll say, hey, dude, you only need a 3060 or 3080 or whatever for very high. But they don't add the part at the bottom that's with DLSS 3. You know what I mean? Or whatever, DLSS 2, I guess, right. If you don't have the 4 series. And so they're saying, look, this is what you would need without any of the extra tech. So if you're used to clicking that button for DLSS anyway, it's not going to require a 4080. It'll require, maybe a 2080 Ti or who knows, so.
This is a game that at minimum settings runs on an i5-8400 and a GTX 1070. If I can't run this game in VR, then there's something else wrong. Like I've got the power in my machine to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll run. I think it'll run well. And, not only do your 3080 Ti is not only a 3080 Ti, but it's one of the better high-end 3080 Ti. So I'm
so excited for this, Ruuts. Like, it wasn't hyperbole a minute ago when I'm talking about the original game being among the best in the VR catalog. It absolutely is. To this day, one of the best games you can play in VR. And it's a gamepad experience that they literally just put the game in VR so that you could be in the world. But the spatial audio adds so much to the experience that for that one change of being in the headset makes it so much more immersive. And
It's beautiful too.
that's all. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I don't think I've been excited for a flat game like this since Returnal. Like I'm legitimately excited for this. Now I'm not going to play it flat, even if it doesn't work initially. I'll wait to play it. But you know what I'll do? I'm not going to wait to play it. You know what I'm going to do? If I can't get this to work with UEVR, which I'm sure I'll be able to get it to work with UEVR, but if I don't, I'm going to play it in Reshade. I'm just going to play it on a giant screen in 3D, and I know I can run it that way.
Yeah, that's true. I think you'll be able to run it though. UEVR is very well. It optimizes pretty well. So,
Yeah. But I'm super excited for this. Like I didn't hear it when they announced the launch date because I don't keep up with flat gaming news. So literally, I'm getting ready for the show today, and I see an article about the recommended specs, and I just click into it just because I'm interested to see. You know, I was expecting more, honestly. As high as these specs are on the very high end, I was expecting more because of the way this game looks. I expected it to be like a notch higher, like the very high to be a 4090 and the recommended to be a 4080, 3080 Ti. I didn't expect that I was going to have a stronger computer than the recommended spec for this. So excited, man.
yeah,
We got good stuff to look forward to.
I think it's going to run better. I think a lot of it, like I said, because of the resolution, you're not going to be running it at 2K or 4K or any of that stuff. It's going to be, you know, whatever ends up being in the headset. So, yeah.
Wes Ruuts wants to know what's that Bluetooth thing called for the computer. It's called a dongle, and my mom loves them.
Bluetooth dongle. You know what? I said that to my roommate the other day. I was talking about the PlayStation headphones that I gave him, the dongle, right? And he's, I think he's in late 20s, and he's like, what's that? I mean, D and I had to explain to him what a dongle is, right? And he's like, that sounds weird. Yeah, it is weird. It's a weird name for it, right? Who came up with it? Was his last name Dongle, I hope? I don't know.
John
Dongle?
Henry Dongle.
That's right.
Jebediah Dongle the third.
The third.
Rezel VR wants to know, is it releasing this week? No, it releases, I think, on the 21st, which is next week.
8 days.
$50, Roots. It's not even a $70 game like all the other big releases are. It's $50, and it will be day one Xbox Game Pass.
It's garbage. It's not quadruple A. That's why. Ubisoft has the trademark on quadruple A. Tell you what, $50, I guarantee it's gonna be worth $50. So yeah, and then Game Pass,
a shitload of them. Everybody's gonna buy this game, except for PlayStation 5 gamers. They're not, because they're console warriors and they won't allow themselves new horizons.
Is it? That's not. You mean on PC they won't buy it? It's not on PlayStation, right?
No, I'm saying people who only have PlayStation can't play it because it's not coming to PlayStation on launch.
I got you. Well, I don't know.
I'm sure it will. Don't get me wrong. This will come to PlayStation probably within a year, but it ain't coming next week.
Man. Well, we're going to be playing it in VR, in UEVR style.
Damn right. You heard it here first. Next weekend, next Saturday, not this one. This Saturday, we're doing Red Dead. Next Saturday, we're doing GTA 5 and
Wes.
And Senua Sacrifice or Senua Saga.
Red Dead 2, you need to not only be doing the story, but like go hunting. You know what I mean? Like hunt some animal, get the full experience. There's so much to that game. It's like, if any game I think is worth continuing playing on the side, just a little bit here, a little bit there, that's it. I mean,
it's already taking up 115 gigabytes on my hard drive. I might as well leave it there for a while.
Yeah, it's a big game. So,
but no, it's getting my full focus this week. I'm going to mod it today. I meant to mod it yesterday, but it took it half a fucking day to download.
But we got it now. We're ready to go. Hopefully it won't be too hard to do whatever magic you have to do to make it moddable.
It was really easy for me. I just had to drag it over from one hard drive to the next, and then rerun the I guess link it to my account, get them to register it, and then just rerun that, configuration.
I still have the old version of Luke Ross that modded this from before. But I've got to retroactively roll the version of the game back, don't I?
Yeah, it's a different version. That video, or if it's not that video, but it's one of the ones that he did from that Mick. I can't remember what his Mick VR. I think it is
that guy.
Yeah, that guy. It really wasn't that difficult. But I'll tell you what, this is the first time, ironically, and maybe it's just because I haven't played much Luke Ross mods since I got my 4090. But I went in there and it was what it used to be set on for the mono that everyone gives me shit for. And I said, I'm going to check the stereo, not even the ER. I think it's just stereo. And it was flawless, looked perfect. There was no halo, nothing. And I was like, oh my God. Like I was playing it with like legit 3D graphics. I felt like I was in the future. It was cool.
Yeah, that's definitely how I'm going to play it. I look forward to talking about it this weekend. If it were something that were a little bit less, if it were easier to capture, I would even say maybe we do some of it live. But these Luke Ross mods, they don't put out a solid picture for you.
It's weird.
This weird thing where it shows both frames for both eyes and it makes it hop around. So you have to then tell it to go into a streamer mode or something like that, which I think takes even more system resources. So yeah, we probably won't be doing that, but I'm going to play it plenty before showtime on Saturday, and we'll have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too. Anyway, that's going to conclude Game Talk for the week, but before we wrap up headlines, got another little something cool to inform everyone about.
I see flashlights through my front door. I open the door. I got the bat. I got the strap. I said, ah! Ever since that night, Amazon has not delivered packages to my house.
You ready?
Let's go.
It's on.
Wish me luck.
You ever take the top off a pint of ice cream and just throw the lid away?
My husband, when we first got married, I didn't even want to do vows. I just wanted to do concerns.
I love anything mini. I like mini golf, mini weeds, even mini murder is fine.
Try explaining ripped jeans to your immigrant father.
This chicken is cage-free. That chicken had a better childhood than I did.
Meta, once again, putting their money where their mouth is. 2 weeks ago on our last numbered episode, we talked a little bit about The Faceless Lady, which is a horror series created by Eli Roth, exclusive to MetaQuest headsets. And here we are 2 weeks later talking about stand-up comedy events in Horizon Worlds. Ruuts, we've often kind of wondered, or at least I have, if stand-up comedy is a art form that could be delivered effectively through avatars, because it is such a personal thing. When you go to see comedy live, you're making eye contact with the person. You can see their facial expressions and all of their gestures, and that's all part of the experience. Now, obviously, every comedian's different, and some styles are more well suited to VR than others, but I've often wondered if someone can be really funny in an avatar form. Well, we're about to find out, because Meta is bringing in some legit comedians here. Jay Farrow, Pete Holmes, Natasha Leggero. These are real world-class comedians, funny people.
Right.
And we're going to find out if it works or not. Now through October, it looks like.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is good material is good material. You know what I mean? No matter how you translate it, right? How you listen to it or watch it, otherwise there'd be no such thing as a comedy channel on XM radio, right? I mean, you're just driving around listening to a comic. You don't have to see them. It is better to be able to see them and get that eye contact. But if somebody's funny and what they're saying is funny and relatable to you, it absolutely could be good. And so it just depends. What are they going to be talking about up there? What are they, is it going to be funny? That's up to them,
That's right.
So,
Right. Yeah. And there's so many different comedians, like the ones that are really like great joke writers, I think are going to do well at this. Like jokes just work. It doesn't matter what medium that you experience them through. A good joke is a good joke. Now there are other more physical comedians that depend on the visual side of it to give the
Gallagher,
the audience cues. A lot of people don't notice this, but if you watch a lot of comedy, you'll notice that a really great comedian trains the audience and gives them cues of when they're supposed to laugh. For example, those of you who wonder what I'm talking about, go watch Dave Chappelle do stand-up and notice how he keeps smacking his leg with the microphone and making that noise, that thump. That is supposed to program you on a subconscious level and tell you that's the punchline. Laugh now. Dave Chappelle's great. He knows exactly what he's doing. But that's the sort of thing that would not work in this kind of a scenario. Really physical comedians like George Lopez or even a Cat Williams, where their facial expression is, really helps sell the joke that they're telling, might struggle here. But somebody like Pete Holmes, who is one on the lineup here, that guy just tells funny jokes. So I think his set will probably do pretty well. I've never watched Jay Farrow do stand-up before. I know him well from Saturday Night Live. So I don't know what his stand-up's like. Anyway, I think this is cool.
It's cool, and it's a stepping stone for the future. I mean, if you look at just Apple Vision Pro and what it can do with its, that technology that, Brad and Mash and everybody's got their head floating and you can see them and talking and stuff. Like that technology's right around the corner for everything else. And I guess that is kind of good in a sense of these games going to the Quest 3 from this perspective, because Quest 2 didn't have mixed reality so there's certain things that it couldn't do that, in certain aspects that they maybe couldn't even do that, to where it could record your face and put a realistic avatar out there. We're not that far away where that's going to be on Meta as well. And then that's where then you're right there, and I just think it's a good idea, but at this stage, it's really about how good they are at what they do. And hopefully they picked good people. At least I know one of them. I know, if anything, that Wes has his thumb on, or one of the many things, is comedy. So if he's saying that he's funny, yeah, then I'm sure Pete Holmes is funny.
When I scroll YouTube, there's VR, there's fights, and there's comedy. These are the things that I watch. So I'm familiar. I don't know all of these comedians. 4 out of 6 though I do. So I know over half of them. And P. Holmes is the guy that did the College Humor Batman.
Oh,
I'm sure you've seen the Batman skits, right?
Yeah,
Batman's really ridiculous and he talks like this.
It's just some of the funniest shit that I've seen in a long time is that stuff, especially the one about I can't remember who it was, the one that had the mask on, that fat mask on his face, and he gets stabbed or whatever. That was a good one. Yeah.
I posted a skit on the Discord a while back that was from his show. He had a show for a while. He was a writer for Conan O'Brien for a long time, and then he went off and got his own show, a sketch show, and he did this skit where it was the pearly gates, where these people are trying to get into heaven,
and it was a recurring skit. But the one I posted was this guy. He realizes where he's at. He's at the pearly gates. He realizes I'm dead, and he's like, I have to go back. And St. Peter's like, yeah, they all say that. Everyone says that. You can't go back. He's like, no, I have to go back. There's so much porn everywhere. he's like, it's everywhere, all around. I've got to go back. Oh God, this is so bad. I mean, it's a really funny skit.
That is funny.
He's a really funny guy.
Gel's saying, Wes, have you tried stand up?
I've considered it. I have never been brave enough to do it.
Well, maybe for the patrons one time, that'd be kind of cool. Like you could actually do like a live stream, and then it's not so much pressure.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't do it unless it was good and I knew it was good. And that's not how stand-up works. You have to suck for a long time before you get good at it. And I absolutely think I could do it if I had the time
and you weren't already
to practice it and write.
You're directed in a different angle right now, bro. You're creating VR shit. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, you're right.
It's literally something that you have to focus on 24/7. You always have to be thinking of a premise, and then you have to polish that premise up into a finished joke. And I don't have the time to try to do something like that.
The best comics and the biggest comics aren't when they go and they do their big live show. They've gone to so many other little venues, and they've tried, they work it. They figure out what the audience likes, what they don't like, the good ones. And like you said, then when you go on, it's like you're hitting them. So
yeah, it's a trial and error with much more error than people ever see, because people go suck in private to small groups for many, many, many nights before it becomes something that people laugh and you can take and show and do. I wish I had time to do it and try it, because I do love it. I love stand up. I think it's great. I think it's the last true space of free speech in the public eye. Like, the comedians are the ones that never shut up. Everyone else got silenced in the last 4 years, but a handful of comedians just kept talking. So I think it's important, and I have a deep appreciation for it. But I'm past my point of deciding what I'm going to do, and I'm doing VR right now. So
that's true.
But thank you, whoever asked that question, for even thinking that I could do something like that.
Gel.
Open mics. Yeah, I know there's open mics here. We have a club here, and good comedians come to the club here. But I'm not going to go up and eat shit at an open mic every night. A couple nights a week for a year that it would take me to just have a good 5 minutes on stage.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bad Robot, I just do the mom jokes because they're so easy. like literally, they just write themselves. Scott Dracula says, just get your type 5. You know who has a type 5, Roots?
Oh yeah, type 5, 10, 15. No, just kidding. Maybe not that tight, but it's tight.
Anyways, that's our headlines for the week. This is in Meta Horizon Worlds for anyone that's interested in it. It's not a single show with all of these comedians, but each comedian has their own set, their own date. Jay Farrow's the first one, I think, this Thursday, and there will be 1 or 2 a month now through October. So just tag me up if you need the schedule, or check out the Meta Horizon Worlds.
Steve Ayers says, most stand up these days has its balls cut. Yeah, Wes said a handful. There's a handful. Really is a handful of comedians that haven't changed, and they're
those
the ones pushing against everyone else has backed off, right?
Yeah, those ones that got their balls cut are the ones that want to be movie stars. the ones that are good just want to be comedians. The ones that are still in California suck. The ones that moved to Texas and New York are still good.
Yeah.
Go check out Shane Gillis. And tell me that's not funny. Anyway. Let's move on to the week's reminders and start by taking a look at what's out this week. And believe it or not, Roots, we actually have a few notable things out this week.
Hello? I'm in trouble. It's the magician. You've got to help me again.
Retropolis, where every soul feels like an insignificant cog in a colossal machine. And for a long time, I felt that way too. And then I met Jenny. But here, happiness is fleeting, and she vanished without a trace. She's in peril, and there's a puppet master at work. But mark my words, I'm bringing her back.
There's something strange going on with this case. I've never seen anything like it before.
It's me, Jenny Montage.
What do you have to do with her?
Why don't you come back to the station?
What are you, my boss?
Scary. I was framed.
It's all very confusing. Give me the money.
Jenny!
Retropolis 2 is out this week on the official MetaQuest store. Roots, we tried Retropolis 1 way back in the day, and we were fairly impressed with it as a point-and-click, story-driven, almost I Expect You to Die style of game, but something that had a bit more of a cohesive story to it. And interestingly, the artwork for these games all done inside VR with Quill, giving it a very distinctive look. Retropolis 2 has been out on Steam for a little while. It's coming to Quest this week, coming to PSVR 2 and maybe next week. I've just been kind of wondering to myself, when should we pull the trigger, Roots? When should we go in and give it a look?
Oh, we could go in soon. I got distracted there. Somebody said Ron Jeremy's in prison. I said, oh my God, what? You know, like when somebody says somebody famous that they really loved and they just died or something. Like I just had that feeling. No, just kidding. I didn't hear that he was in prison. But yeah, no, I agree. I thought the first one was cool. You know, the artwork, like you said, the fact that it was done in Quill. So I think it'd be something to check out soon for sure.
Yeah. It should be a relatively low lift. You know, the first one, it was just a couple hours long. I don't know if this one is going to follow suit, but I can't imagine that this is going to be some epic length thing coming from Peanut Button, which is a notoriously small team. But it was good work, the original, and I think it deserves another look.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe if I can get a key, maybe we could do it this week. One of the things that we resolved to cover this Saturday got the embargo pushback on it.
Oh.
So,
hey, we're looking for something then. All right, maybe. That sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to Eric and see what he says. Sounds good.
Yep. But definitely worth a look if you guys are like that sort of point-and-click puzzle game. This is a relatively clever one with a interesting story behind it. So give it a look. But with that said, not the only notable thing coming to standalone this week. bugs.
What if the I was gonna keep going with the conversation.
Masters of Light coming to Quest. This one a fairly high profile release, Quest exclusive at least for now. Kind of a game that puts you in the role of being like this almost superhero as you defend the galaxy from the evil shadow beings that are coming to destroy everything. Notably developed by the same team that brought us The Key. I don't know if you remember The Key, Roots.
I remember it. I don't remember much about it though.
It's a studio that's known for storytelling, beautiful environments, this sort of thing. And on top of that, they're giving us a story-driven game here. But it's not. I mean, this is an action game. Make no mistake about it. Even though it's pretty, it's got good environments, it's got good production values, and it's telling us a heartfelt story. This is an action game, almost to the point of exercise. The way that they're describing this one, you can play it with controllers, but it isn't developed to be played with controllers. This is a hand tracking game, and what I'm hearing, this is the one that everyone's saying, oh, the hand tracking actually works really well for this one. I have yet to see the game that I don't prefer to use controllers in, but I'm open-minded to it. This game was developed for your hands, so I will wait to reserve judgment until I play it, and I am going to play it.
Yeah, you might think it's amazing. It's the best hand tracking game adventure ever. Why are they making that symbol in the thumbnail or the picture there? Are they
Illuminati?
Illuminati, secret society.
I mean, the game is Masters of Light, right?
That's right. Okay, I didn't even get that connection. I bet it'd be pretty cool. So yeah, I wouldn't mind. My thing is gimmicky as I think hand tracking is, and I don't really particularly care for it. I'm kind of like you. It's like I go into it with, okay, show me. Why do I need to play this with VR so far or without controllers? So far, every time we've gotten in there and then said, I'd rather use the controller. But there has to be. It's like the way things work. Eventually, something's going to blow us away. So,
right. And this game, you're in space, so you're not going to need to walk around anywhere. I don't know if it's completely stationary or if you're flying around. But I mean, the fact that you don't need a thumbstick makes it more likely that hand tracking might actually work here. So
true. Yeah, absolutely. The game that where it doesn't matter for any type of haptics is the one that's going to do it. So,
right. Yeah. And, shit, I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Got sidetracked. Anyway, Masters of Light out this Thursday, MetaQuest only for now. It looks beautiful. I'm hearing good things about it for whatever that's worth. People, I do know people who've played it said it's good. We'll see.
Yeah.
They say movement is life. That couldn't be more true in Aaron City. Every Sky Chase operative is a trained professional. Because when things get ugly...
Do you want to die?
Helping the people was never easy. But luckily, there are partners to cover your back. So, rookie, do you have the guts to join us?
You've chosen death.
Stride Fates coming to PSVR 2 and SteamVR this week. And those few individuals that bought Stride on Steam, the original Stride, when they were advertising it as having a future story mode coming, we'll get this game for free, unlike the rest of us. Those people who bought it in that specific window, there's a certain period of time that they were advertising that, will receive this game via email. So if you're in that crowd, don't go pay for it. And if everyone else, do go pay for it.
Fuck you, man. Everyone else. Hey, my background's missing, Wes. What the hell? I was like, I'm like part of the scene here. I feel kind of special. Actually, maybe I need to leave it for this one.
Maybe Power Washer Simulator came and sprayed
Oh,
away
those
your background.
fuckers, man. I like my background. It was cool.
Bad Roa says, I am actually interested in the game. I don't know if you're talking about Masters of Light, which I am interested in it too. I can vouch for Stride Fates. Stride Fates is good on Quest 2. And, barring some kind of fucked up bug on these other platforms that isn't present, which is certainly a possibility. Could be a buggy port, right?
Could be.
But if that isn't the case, I fully expect a better version here. We already know it's getting graphical upgrades. They've said as much. And they also mentioned that it's had a number of substantial updates to the gameplay since I played it. So I'm relatively excited for this. I mean, Skiva, who doesn't play a lot of VR,
he loved it.
It's got to be. He played through it twice on Quest.
Yeah, when he loves a game, he'll play the shit out of it, right? Like that's how you know if a game's good, if Skiva likes it. Somebody said, so Dan Kitty VR says, thank God, cool, I bought it on Steam. Now hold on there, Dan. When did you buy it on Steam? Because that was my first reaction, Wes. I was like, wow, Joyway. Like, yeah, you're giving, you're the people that bought, and then it's a very specific window of time. And then we're going to give you, send it by email. And I'm like, don't get me wrong. They're honoring what they promised because that's when they promised it. And that's what they need to do. But
it's weird. It seems like the way that they're doing it is like the way that they would be required by law to do it.
And what it does is it minimizes, and people are lazy in 2024. No one wants to jump through all those hoops. How many people don't do shit, and there's probably a window when you would need to claim it in that email. If somebody gets the email, let us know in the comments. I guarantee it probably says you have to claim it in X amount of days, because I bet they're banking on that too. Although, the game is good from what you're saying, and Skiva's saying. I don't think I've tried this yet, so I don't want to sit here and shit on it. But I just think some of the things that Joyway does, as far as that goes, it's just weird. Like, at the end of the day, a good game's a good game. I just wish
this is easily the best game that they've done. It's better than Against. It's better than Dead Hook. It's better than Outlier was.
Well,
this is a really good game.
That's one thing I will say for Joyway. As much shit as we give them, their trajectory is in the right direction. Every game gets better and better. Like if they were a stock or a crypto coin, Wes, you would be like, okay, this is one I need to follow because pick up a few coins. because there you could see the potential of everything gets better over time. So
I'm trying to find the window that you had to buy it in. I'm having a little trouble. It's not actually talked about on the Steam page.
Even that information is vague. Time to play VR says just Steam, no free PSVR 2. Same thing. So did the PSVR 2 do the same thing? They promised it as well.
Well, everyone, you remember Roots, we all kind of assumed that when they said Stride was getting a story mode, we assumed that meant all of it, right? All of Stride. But then with PSVR specifically, the PSVR version of Stride, if I recall correctly, didn't even get all of the features that the PC version of Stride had to begin with. Like the PC version got updates and stuff that didn't ever come to PlayStation VR. So no, I'm quite sure that it was never announced as coming to the PSVR version.
So Looper doing what Looper does just saved you some time, Wes. September 4th, 2020 to June 10th, 2022. It's actually a pretty big window. So, I mean, I as much as I can say, it should be for everybody, like the bottom line is they implied that it was free and they're providing it to people that got it in that time frame. If you bought it with that understanding, because the advertisement, they're making it right. So I can't give them shit for that. I could say I would want them to do it for everybody or whatever, but at the end of the day, they're standing by what they said. So that's what really matters.
Wasn't this one of the ones we're going to cover this weekend?
I believe
this
so.
was the other game. Yeah. So we're going to do Red Dead and we're going to do Stride Fates this week. This is an arcade style action parkour game. People keep comparing it to Mirror's Edge, which I never played, so I can't make a direct comparison to it one way or the other. All I can say, it's a fun game. It's an old school throwback action game, Roots, that has you swinging around from ceiling to ceiling, blasting bullets at a larger than life comic book style enemy. There's boss fights, there's minions. It's that type of game.
Okay, well, sounds good. I'm laughing because in the chat, they Time to Play says PSVR got nothing, right? They got the rock, but then Johnny C corrected and said no, PSVR version, they got a price increase. So
they did.
Don't say they didn't get
increase.
anything. They got a price increase. You guys got something. So it's funny.
Right. And Scott Dracula points out what happens when you assume.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll tell you what happens when we assume. We didn't buy it. We said I'll play Stride when it gets to story mode. That's what we said.
Yeah, because it really was kind of implied, and yeah. So,
well, they outright said it, and as a matter of fact, a lot of people don't remember this, but they were set to deliver a story mode to Stride about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. They announced the Stride story mode was coming. And it was like a 1 to 2 hour add-on to Stride. It was going to be free for everyone. And people said, what? An hour? I wanted a full-on story campaign. And so they said, okay, that's what you want. And then we'll do that instead. So they took their 1 hour story mode and expanded it out into a full-fledged story campaign, a full game here with its own unique progression system. This isn't just an empty experience. There's progression and everything here. So
do you think that cost money doing that redirecting?
I'm sure it did.
That's where they kind of have to charge. Somebody's got to pay. So
right. They're over delivering here. This is more than a story mode. So people like to often forget that into the equation that they were about to deliver the story mode they promised people, and people gave them shit for it. So they said, well, we'll just give people what they want, and people can pay for it.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
Thomas McNostril says, you know who else likes to swing from the ceiling?
My mom!
I should swing from anywhere. It's all about swinging.
Right. Let's look at some viewer comments.
For example, this comment from Stefan Stuff. Stefan Stuff. He says, "Hey strangers, I have a topic I hope you can discuss and ironically help me shine some light on. Mira. I've encountered Mira in more or less immersion breaking moments through the years, but this last time I think I saw some software improvements. When I played Madison VR on PSVR 2, I noticed Mira in between the scenes and during the loading, but not actually in game. This was fascinating, and I saw it several times throughout the game. To put it simple, when there was a black screen during the loading, there was hell of a Mira. But when the regular black screen shifted to the in-game black screen, the Mira was gone. Did you notice that? Someone in chat maybe? I'm curious because I thought it was super cool. Do you think it's some kind of anti-Mira voodoo that the devs have mastered? Have you heard of effective Mira canceling from the devs? Love you guys. You rule. Peace, Stefan." I did notice this, Stefan, and the reason I very noticeably made a mental note of it was because before I played Madison, I talked to other people that had played it. I talked to Brian Paul and AJ, and people were talking about how there's no Mira in it and how great that is. And I go to boot the game up, and the first thing I see is Mira. But you're right. When the game loads in, it goes away. And Mira is noticeably absent from what is probably the darkest game that I've played on PlayStation VR 2.
Does sound like software to me. Something 100% kicked in, right?
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, that one game has Mira, the other game doesn't have Mira. There's got to be a reason behind that. And someone actually did explain this to me at one time on a technical level, and I forget exactly what was said to me. But yes, there are developers who know how to work the system so as to eliminate the visible Mira in the game. Some guys know how to do it. Other guys don't know how to do it. It would be great if we could get some collaboration here and somebody put the fucking memo out there how to disappear that shit once and for all.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, Stefan. That's totally a thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Deadringer28, great content. I will eventually own all of the games of the month, and my backlog will never be cleared. Well, welcome to the club there. We all have these endless backlogs. Although I question your decision to own all of the games of the month, because didn't we just kind of do game of the month by default for PlayStation VR on this very video that the comment came from?
Yeah, probably. I'll tell you what, it was definitely, I think that most of the games are no-brainers, but and the rest were kind of filler.
Most of them.
It was a very slow month.
Yeah. But no, thank you, Deadringer, for the compliment. And I think if you do nothing but buy our games of the month, you're going to have an awesome catalog.
What if he just bought nothing but the Viveport Infinity games we talked about? He may not.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Mark Smith says, the game I would feel most excited about if it were to come to PSVR 2 is Contractor Showdown. When I played Warzone, I was thinking the whole time that this would be awesome in VR. It is. It's a great game. And Roots, did you know they're already moving to test solos in it?
Oh, well, that sounds good. As long as they got a player base for it. You know, I mean, this is the reality. Not everybody wants to play solos. You know, the killing blow is when they want to make private lobbies, because then people just congregate with their friends and they just don't go, you know what I mean? It really fucks things up. But, you know, there are people, yourself included, that would rather just go in one-on-one against people, right? You're not relying on a teammate, and really what it's about, especially with randoms, you're not like kind of potentially holding somebody back as you're learning, right? So,
Yeah, I called for it in Pop 1 immediately, right? Because it's a difficult that you got to put the time in to get good. And if you're trying to do that with friends all the time, obviously it's difficult for people's schedules to line up. And if you're like me, I don't want to play with randos. I'd rather play alone than play with randoms. If I go in and play with randoms, I'm going to turn my microphone off and just act like I don't hear people and fuck them because they're trying to win, right? And I'm trying to learn.
Right.
I like the idea of having solos. I'm glad they're going to it rather soon, although it is not a permanent feature that they're rolling out. They're just doing it for a limited time.
I was just what we said. We said it would be perfect. I think those are good things to roll. Call of Duty does that. They roll out all sorts of things. Nuketown 24/7. That comes and goes, and that's why people get excited when it comes. They're like, "Oh my God, I'm going to Nuketown." I'd love to see Nuketown and Contractors, or I guess that's a different type of thing, right?
Yeah, but you're right. I mean, this is a game that supports 60 players at once. It's a different thing having privates for, a game with 10 or 12 players in it. It's a different thing entirely when you're trying to fill out matches of 60.
Right.
In VR, you need everyone on deck for that.
Dan Kitty agrees with what you're saying too. He said, "I'll buy it when there's solos." Well, it sounds like you're not going to have to wait. Well, I guess it's temporary, so you have to wait for the testing.
Simplex says, "Thank you for the chapters." Simplex recently returned to the ranks of our audience and has been frequently thanking us for the chapters. Simplex, thank SpryGuy for the chapters because there would be no chapters if it weren't for VR SpryGuy. Shout out SpryGuy. Shout out Chinatown D for the audio version. If you're listening to this on the podcast services, that is because of D. If you're flipping through this with the chapter marks, that is because of SpryGuy. These are awesome people that make these things possible.
Why would you flip through, Wes? That's so crazy. You're going to miss all the best parts. Right? You got to listen to every word.
Yeah, I know, because SpryGuy, he does a very good job with the chapters, but it's all based on the show notes. And, we roll off script quite a lot in these segments, talking about all sorts of shit that's not in the show notes. That you have to watch start to finish to catch.
Right. You have to, or you're going to miss it.
Yep. Black Market Honey says, Crashland is definitely a hidden gem. It's so fucking hard. I find it exhausting from the stress and tension. I always recommend it, but with a disclaimer that you have to be ready for this. Great game. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're typically pretty averse to returning to games that we've already covered here. And we only return to the ones that we love. And this Roots, I think, definitely qualifies as one that we love.
Yeah, we've gone back to it several times. Definitely the best wave shooter type of game that I've ever played in VR. Time to Play wants to know what level we are on Showdown. I speaking of not going back to games, we haven't been back in since we played. I loved playing. We talked about, me, Mash, and Wes talked about going in like for a week or two, and then things, changed, and we need to get back in there.
Madison came out.
That's
what
true.
Happened.
And World
like I literally
is still out.
We resolved, like Eric Roots and I resolved to go in the Contractor Showdown every night for at least an hour, because it's fun and we wanted to get good at it. And we literally have not been back in one time since then.
Yeah, we need to get back in there for sure, because I need to get good. Get good, son, is what I keep hearing.
Yep, I'm down for it. I am down. Although we are playing Red Dead this week, so
see, that's the thing. And I still have World of Warcraft is still on my plate, just like SpryGuy, I'm sure. I'm like level 30 something. I need to get to 40 to get my mount, Wes.
You know who always down for the mount?
Yeah. Even if there's 30, she's down.
Well, we got Red Dead this week. We've got Hellblade next week. And maybe sometime in mid-August, we can get good at Contractor Showdown.
Pepper it in. Yeah. There'll be a lull somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Oblivion 486. I definitely enjoyed the comedy. I also really dislike wave shooters, and I'm not a big fan of standalone games. I mostly use my Quest 3 for PC VR, except for the really impressive stuff, like Asgard's Wrath 2. But you guys sold me on Crashlands. That's why we did it, right? Ultimately, that's why we went back to it, is because we know since we covered this years ago, there's a whole new generation of VR players that have no fucking idea what Crashlands is, and it's still the best of its kind. And that's why we ultimately decided to cover it. And this Roots is validation for our decision to go back to it.
Yeah, and I kind of was thinking, just from what the Black Market Honey was saying about the game being a hidden gem. That was one of the things that we used to do, is like the hidden gem segment. Maybe that's something we bring around from time to time. You know, each of us find a game that we think is, you know, fallen off, that people don't know is out there, right? Revisit them and go into them.
It would be cool now because there's AAA games that are hidden gems now.
Oh, hell
People
yeah.
don't know. People don't know about the 2017, 2018 VR games. Everybody came around after Quest. This is all Chinese to them. They don't know. They don't know about the stuff on PlayStation VR. And as much as, you know, it would pain me to have to hook that fucking mess up again. Still among the very best libraries, if not the best that we've ever seen in VR. So
mine's still sitting on the table down there waiting. I refuse to box it up and put it away for one game and one game only, and it's Astrobot. And it's for my love of platformers. I'm not going to go into it probably anytime soon, but at some time in the future, maybe sooner than I think, I'm going to want to play through it again. It's been a long time. So
yeah. Yeah. So somebody, I forget who it was. I was reading somebody in the community just busted it out just to see if it still holds up. And guess what? Spoiler alert, it does.
Yeah.
You put it on. I'll tell you from experience what happens when you go back to PSVR. You put it on and go, holy shit. I can't believe there was ever a time that I could play something that was this fucking blurry. And then the second day when you go back into it, you go, wait a minute. Why is this not as blurry as it was yesterday? And then if you keep playing, it just gets better and better and better. Your brain adjusts to it. And all of a sudden, before you know it, it just looks great all over again.
You heard it here, everybody. Everybody needs to get rid of their TVs, go back to the old 480. The big tubes.
It would happen.
Yeah, it might actually, right?
I'll tell you from experience. When I broke my my TV playing Vacation Simulator, that time, I went from a full HD television to a 720p for probably 6 to 8, maybe even 9 months after that. And when I first went back to that 720p TV, it was just like, oh, this is fucking terrible. I can't even look at this shit. It's so pixely and shitty. I hate it. But I got used to it. And it didn't look bad after like a week. It looked fine. Your brain adjusts and you get used to seeing what you're looking at every day. And then when I finally upgraded again and I went to a full 4K from the 720p, that was like jumping fucking light years into the future.
It blew you away.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Phil Yarn, Crashlands is amazing on the Quest 3 using the Quest Game Optimizer to make that game look great. I still haven't tried the Quest Game Optimizer, but I keep hearing people bring it up and saying that it's awesome. It's almost unanimous. Almost.
Yeah. It's Quest 3 exclusive, right? I can't use it with a Pro. I don't care. I'm glad everybody else. Let me know how good it is. Actually, I've heard the same thing, except from the next comment.
Except from Rickeron, 7593 says the game optimizer is bullshit. I saw no difference in the games that it was supposed to work for. You're doing it wrong, bro.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Sometimes people see things or don't see things. It's weird. It's subjective. You know.
Right. Yeah, everyone has a different sensitivity to certain
visual things. We've come to realize since we've started covering VR that some things that we don't notice are very noticeable to others, and some things that are very noticeable to us, other people don't think are a big deal.
It's just funny, and everybody's got something, and they're like, I can't believe that that's okay, that totally immersive breaking for me, and then other people are like, that doesn't bother me, but this, so there's just something.
And these
for
fucking
everybody.
people with the God rays, I don't know how the hell they deal with that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fucking literally like light rays and glare and blur all over the things. There's nothing more immersion breaking to me that reminds me that I'm looking through fucking glass than that. And
it's constant.
These fucking HTC Vive and Valve Index people will just look past it all day and tell you that it's fun.
Well, when I had my CV1, I turned off that spud tool that was supposed to not get rid of the God rays, and dealt with the God rays because the Mira that was all over in the dark was worse to me than the God rays were. But that's VR, man. It's a trade-off. Everything's a trade-off, right? Like it's like everything.
That's right.
So
absolutely right about that. El Diego VR, absolutely wicked episode. Please, please, please keep up with the best of segments. I haven't laughed that much in a long time. Roots, there was a number of these comments. People like the best of Viport, man. They want us to keep doing it.
that's good because it was so late, and sometimes you gauge, how it's going by just the comments, and it was so quiet. I was like, I don't know if this is landing, or people like, hey, what is this? I enjoy it. My thing is I like to laugh. I like joy, So
yeah, it was a fun episode. We're going to have to find a way to access the full Steam catalog. There's got to be a way. And if we can do that, then we'll have endless material to do these best of segments. So yeah.
Doesn't the Tiny Tina's work with UEVR? Somebody's asking.
I think it does. I think it does, but more importantly, the Borderlands 3 definitely does, and you can co-op in that motherfucker.
Yeah, so I was just telling D, my problem with Borderlands 3 is it's almost too much. There's so many guns that I'm constantly, I'm OCD, like want to have the best weapon. So I'm constantly looking at every gun, and I'm like, I don't want to look at every gun. Just give me a gun. Yeah. It's like the opposite of not having too many weapons. There's too much. If I can get past that, I think I could maybe get into it. So
yeah, I had the same problem with Borderlands 2. Like, I love Borderlands 2 VR, but it took me forever to play that game because I'm literally fucking checking every gun's stats, and there's like 10 different stat categories for every weapon. Eventually what I had to do is just look at value. The ones that are worth more are the ones I kept. The ones that were not worth as much I dropped.
Yeah,
that's kind of the way I did it.
Because there's really so many. It's like it's a loot horde game. There's just a lot of shit. I mean, that's good. I mean, it feels good to get a good gun. I don't want to sift through 1,000 guns to get the good gun. I'd rather sift through 20 and get it,
I feel you there for sure. The one thing that fucking sucks about this Airlink is the fucking Oculus app keeps popping up and telling me that it's not connected anymore and asking me to connect my headset. Like, can I not turn this shit off to where it's not asking me constantly to have my headset hooked up? It's fucking annoying. I close it and it opens itself.
At what point, and we're probably not really there, but like, I feel like the AI would fuck with us. This is how they do it, right? They would just start popping shit up. Like, what the fuck? Because we talk shit about it. And, just to throw out there, I love you, AI. But it's, I just think it would be funny. It'd be a great way to start things out, right? Maybe your GPS starts sending you to weird places. We've gotten so reliant on it. And you just show up and you're like, what the fuck is this? So
good one, AI. Good one,
yeah,
bro.
good one. I knew you were going to get me this stuff today.
Let's wish list the game, everybody. It's really a big deal to these developers, especially the small
smaller, little known games, and that's why I have decided that this week I'm going to wish list, and I already have wish listed Senua Saga Hellblade 2. A little known game that you might have heard of, but you probably haven't.
$50.
I just think $50. Yeah, that's all.
Haven't
$50.
haven't played it yet, but I would be willing to say that just like a lot of other games that have came out that didn't claim to be quadruple A are so much closer to being a quadruple A game than anything Ubisoft has put out in the last 5 years, probably. So, because this really is going to be somewhere in between, right? If it's as good as the first one. So.
Yeah, they were a AA studio that got acquired by Microsoft, and then had AAA money put into their next project.
And Microsoft isn't doing weird shit with their games yet, as far as like seemingly,
right. The only thing that keeps this from being a AAA game is its scope. This is not going to be something that you play for 20 hours, even, let alone 40 or 50 or 100. This is going to be like watching like the Lord of the Rings trilogy extended director's cut versions. And by the time you get through that, you're going to be done playing this, just like the first one. But the first one was a masterpiece, and I expect that this one will be as well. Just such a great experience and immersive. Shut the fuck up, dog. Just an immersive experience with everything working together. Beautiful visuals, cinematic storytelling, fun gameplay, clever puzzles, and then like audio and haptics. In a flat game that reminds you of the type of audio and haptics that you see in AAA VR games. I'm so excited for this game. I hope that my headset doesn't crash it next week.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay. You might have to slum it with a Quest 3 or I hate to say it, maybe even a Quest 2 to fly on the radar. And if you really want to dumb it down a shade and deal with some more jank, maybe break out the Rift S to realize it doesn't want to connect.
I would go straight for the Rift S if it didn't start with that blue screen issue that it started having last summer. Like it just crashes now whenever I try to play anything on it.
Maybe it's fixed.
Maybe I heard somebody
where's
said
the logic in that? It just suddenly works, right?
I heard someone speculate that it could be like a cord problem or something physical wrong with it that's causing it to do it.
It's very
It is an
possible.
old headset.
Yeah, I've thought about testing mine because I moved my room around a little bit and had to move my Rift S. It's the one headset I haven't sold and I would never sell. I know, before you think I'm sentimental, I just don't trust it anymore. I would never feel right about dumping it on somebody. Because it's not going to work properly all the time. I would only sell something I believe actually is worth buying. So
This fucking Meta app will not stop opening. I keep closing it and it keeps opening. I'm going to go into the task manager and kill it.
I saw a video a while ago. It was Dr. Disrespect, and he was doing, I think it was Warzone or something, and he had a notification that kept popping up, and he kept doing stuff for like 45 minutes to an hour trying to get rid of it. He was like ready to fucking freak out.
Dude.
It was actually pretty funny. It was good.
That kid is back on the escalator again. I hope his shirt tail gets caught and a bloodbath ensues. All right. I killed it from task manager.
It can't
Holy
do it again.
Fucking shit. It did it again.
Did it really?
Oh my God.
I think the AI.
Here's the reason to go back to get Steam Link working, or maybe even, fucking God forbid, go back to virtual desktop, because I can't take this shit, man. Like, this is too much.
Well, you're not connected though. It just wants to remind you.
So, fuck me.
It's like, why is it still trying to connect?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, if I leave it on wired link, it doesn't do this. But Like with air leak on, it's like I can't talk to your headset now, bro. It's like a fucking clinging ex-girlfriend is what it is.
You know, it's what's crazy is I had the same issue last night when I was playing Red Dead, but just a different way. As I'm running around playing my game, my controllers keep saying, "We're not tracking your controllers," you know, blah blah blah, and it's got a little thing that pops up, and I'm literally looking down at this. Well, yeah, I know why you're not tracking my controllers. I'm using this, you know, and it's actually synced to my PC, and like, so why are you worried about what those are doing when I'm not? It's just so weird. It's such a weird notification to have keep popping up over and over again, or having it stuck there in my field of view because I kept closing it for a while. Finally, I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going down Wes's road of frustration. I'm just going to tune it out. It's just weird.
SpryGuy says I had 3 meta programs in Task Manager. I did too, and I killed all of them, and it won't die. It's like Jason Voorhees, bro. It just keeps coming back.
Just keeps coming back. Well, you know, it's persistent. You got to give it that, right?
Where were you at last night? Sandra told me you talked to her. Is it true? Yeah. You can disable the notifications. It's not the notifications, dude. It's the whole fucking the whole Meta PC app popping up with a pairing code on it, like 6-digit number.
Oh,
like put this into your headset if you want to pair. Like, dude, come off of it, man. We already paired, and next time we play VR, we'll pair again. But
once it's paired, it shouldn't ask you that again. Like that should be done. You've paired it. It's synced, right?
Yeah. It wants to be repaired. It needs to be repaired.
It does need to be repaired. It's meta, dude. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
It's time to go home, man. But before we do, I did say we would give away a copy of Arcade Paradise before we hit the credits. And you know how we do it. Everyone that left a comment and is subscribed got a number next to their name. And I already took the liberty before the show went live today to go to the random.org random number generator to get the winner. And the winner was number 7, Lose Reviews, aka Old Darth. Congratulations. You are the winner of Arcade Paradise VR on MetaQuest. Tag me up in Discord and claim thy key.
Spry wants to know if somebody in your house is trying to connect to a headset, maybe.
That's possible, I suppose, but unlikely because one, the only other person that uses it's my son, and he does it on his own account. He gets into his Meta account on the Quest and connects to his Meta account on his computer. The other thing that makes that terribly unlikely is it's very specific. Like when the list of connected computers pops up, his has his name on it. Like he would have to intentionally not click the one that has his name on it to try to connect to my computer. I don't think that's happening. Let me 1, 2, 3, 4. There might be. Yeah, I might be missing a headset. So
Michelle's in the other room doing it. She's like laughing, connecting. Like, I'll get him again.
I don't think she's home. I think her and Isabel are gone.
Okay.
Yeah, he might have one in there. I'm short one, so it could be that. But we'll see. We will see soon enough because, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. I want to thank everyone for showing up. Subscribe. Don't say it enough.
Don't forget about the game.
The game.
Weren't you giving away a game, or did you mention who it was?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I didn't hear that. I heard you leading up to it, and then I got distracted, I guess.
Old Darth won. Tag me up on Discord.
I love Old Darth.
Yep. Anyways, subscribe, please, if you haven't already. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this for clicks. Only for clicks. We have no passion left at all for any of this.
We need to change the algorithm
then. Subscribe, ring the bell so that you can be notified when we go live. We'll be back again on Saturday covering Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Luke Ross Real VR mod and Stride Fates. And if we have any extra time, we probably won't, but if we have any extra time, we might cover Retropolis 2 as well. We'll see about that one, but definitely going to cover Stride Fates, definitely going to cover Red Dead 2 this Saturday, and you might miss it if you're not subscribed, so why don't you just subscribe?
Yeah.
If you're already subscribed and you want to do something extra special to help support us in our channel, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon. $3 per month is all we ask. You get weekly show notes, you get insider updates, you get exclusive content, you get your name in the show at the very end. All for less than $1 per week, and you get our undying gratitude and a clean conscience, which is the most important thing, Roots. They can sleep when they know that they have given us our tithe.
Absolutely. And one other important thing, I agree with Awesome Tatum 100%. It's time to get the Virtual Strangers to 5K. Let's do it. Over 5K. Yeah.
Yeah, I struggle with it, Roots, like, because, you know, we could do the things that the other channels do and pop those numbers up there and finally get our flowers and our respect. We would only have to do it for a short period of time to get to 5K. But we remain steadfast. We're not jumping through any hoops and doing any dances. We're going to keep talking about the things that we're interested in, and we're going to keep being honest. And that's that.
No open mouth, gaped thumbnails?
No, none of that. And except for I've considered doing some more merch, and
it's a good idea.
I thought about doing a T-shirt with the mouth gape photo on it.
That would be good. Yeah.
And like the caption on it would be, you know how they do the thumbnails after when they do those thumbnails, they do the headline for the video, the title of the video always describes something that the game isn't, but they put the question mark at the end, so it's not like they're calling it that, but instead they're asking the question: is this the Elden Ring in VR or whatever? You know, is this really Spider-Man with guns? I thought that the T-shirt would say, "Is this the best VR T-shirt ever?" Question mark. Mouthgate photo on the front.
Yeah, I think with the headset on, you gotta have the headset on. What would be your headset of choice? PSVR 2.
I would have to be Quest 2, but maybe Quest 3 now that we're moving past that point.
Yeah,
right?
You can't be slumming it in the Quest 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
But no, we might do the Mouthgate photo for that T-shirt because I still think it's funny and I still think it's relevant more now than ever.
I agree.
But no Mouthgate for the thumbnails.
When does that
change?
change?
Being what they are.
Like the whole reason why everybody does the mouth gape is because they're told that's what the algorithm wants. Like the algorithm can't stay the same forever. And if you're doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, how effective does it? Like at what point does it change? It has to change because it's so
when
fucking
people
stupid.
Stop clicking on it. People stop clicking on clickbait because all that is the visual form of clickbait, right?
I never click on videos that have that. Like, as a matter of fact, I've not clicked on it. Hopefully more people are like that.
SpryGuy, you know who has a lot of Mouthgate photos?
My mom!
Yeah, she's proud of it too. No shame.
Indeed. Anyways, that's our show, ladies and gents. Thanks for everyone who showed up in the chat. Thanks for everyone who's watching this on replay. Thanks for Violator, the Game Cat.
Slippy, the last Slippy.
Yeah, the last Slippy. $5 US donation. Caught the end of the show. Hey, y'all.
Well, enjoy the rest of the show. It was a banger. You're not going to be disappointed.
Indeed, it was. But that is in the past now. And we're all about the future. And dinner time and maybe some Crashland is in my future. I played Crashland yesterday, Roots. I haven't stopped yet. I'm still playing it.
Did you finish? You get close to the end?
No, that's not ever going to happen. But
it's so hard.
Yeah, no. And with that said, folks, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you Saturday. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.